Hey all, welcome back to the Mad LiberTEA Party, where up is down, left is right, and the rules don't matter because we're all mad here. I had some technical difficulties, and now we're going live because obviously I have to break something right before we go live, and that's how it happens.
That's part of the course. We need to have more of that because that's our MO.
It's our MO. We just have things go awry. Just that's what happens when you have no hierarchy. Things go awry and you have to deal with them yourself. And no matter what, we get going at some point. No one has died yet, as far as I'm aware. And I
Not
mean,
from us, no.
I know some people are getting suspicious that you haven't seen Swiss Magic in a little while, but he's not dead. He's doing school shit. We have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, and well, actually, we tried to cut it down a little bit. We're gonna hit on what happened yesterday with J17. We're going to talk about how it went and all that stuff, and then we're going to talk about some MLK stuff, and then we're going to talk about the social media purges, and then we're going to talk about troops on the ground on US soil and DC and shit. So that's what we've got on the schedule for tonight, and no apparent order. I can't promise we're going in that order. Also, we're kind of stalling right now because some people are going to come and join us and stuff. But while we're stalling, hey, dude, would you like to introduce yourself? We got some people coming in to talk about what's going on about the J17 stuff. So, hopefully, more and more of them will come in as we talk. But we got dude here. What do you want to go by? I don't want to introduce you and dig up your freaking name.
DV Dad.
Do what?
DV Dad.
DV Dad here. So you were in, or do you want to say which state?
Yeah, we were in Utah.
Okay, you were in Utah, and so how did it all go and everything like that?
As far as our event went, it went as planned. We had less people show up than we wanted because the news report put out that the FBI said that there was going to be attacks on the Capitol.
Oh yeah, and I don't know if you guys had this problem there, but here we had right-wing people freaking out and talking about how it was a trap set by the far left, and we had the lefties talking about how this was clearly a trap set up by white supremacists and stuff like that.
Well, I think that goes to show the state of our country and the state of our politics at the moment, right? Nobody trusts the other side. We can't come together to talk about what the real issues are, and everything's divisive.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the point. I think that right now things are not going well, and they want us to stay divided because if we actually come together and start bitching at them about it, they're gonna have to deal with all of us at once. You know,
Yeah,
being out.
we put the fear into the state on the 17th, especially when we filed a permit and told them that we were going to be there on purpose.
Oh, you guys did a permit there, huh?
Yeah,
So
we filed a permit just to cover all of our bases, and we wanted to be legit. We wanted people to know that we're going to show up because a lot of groups canceled. We have
yeah,
a local militia called the UCA here. They told all their members not to show up. The local leader,
really.
the Proud Boys, told their members not to show up, and I'm pretty sure the local leader of Antifa did the same thing.
Did you really miss the Proud Boys though?
No, we ran into them on the six and had some issues with them because they were trying to intimidate and cause fights with other people that were there that had a different message than theirs.
Yeah, see, to me, I feel like free speech only exists in the minds of the people if it's speech that they can agree with. And that really upsets me that we've come to this point.
Well, that's the narrative we got
Honestly,
to counter also.
yeah, it has to be liberty for. Am I turning into ants? Is that what just happened to me, or am I only seeing that on my screen?
It only looks like that on your screen, I think.
Wow, my screen is totally gone. I'm sorry about that. Didn't mean to
Yeah.
segue, but I'm still having a bit of technical difficulty over here for some reason. My whole screen over here looks like multicolored ant races.
Well, I can see
Or
it in your glasses now. That's pretty
yeah,
cool. I
could you
see
see it?
see
Yeah,
the reflection.
we are living in a digital world. But I mean, Yeah, the free speech thing is really crazy. I think that a lot of people have a hard time thinking about rights for everybody at this point. Like your rights have to oppose my rights, you know?
And but that's what the two-party system creates, right? Because
Uh-huh.
if the other side wins, somebody's going to lose their rights.
I think
That's
we
how
got
we see
Mando
it.
coming in here.
Mando. Wow.
Mando, is that you coming to join us, boyo? I don't know. Can y'all hear him?
I cannot hear him. No.
No, not yet.
Let's see if he loads. While we're doing this, give me 1 second. I'm gonna. Well, I mean, I don't have to have a second. I'm still here, but I'm gonna fix my computer screen that I see. I monitor everything on my computer so that I can more easily hit the buttons. And some days it just really hates the heck out of me. There we go. Hey, Mando.
What's up?
Welcome to the scene. You guys were in do you want to say where you were at? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
we're in Frankfurt, Kentucky.
Okay. So like how did it go over there?
So this was a story because we were horribly, horribly outnumbered by police.
Wow.
Oh,
Also by
same.
media. So Andy Bashir is one of our lovely tyrant governors we have in the country right now. I'm willing to bet half of the Kentucky State Police were around the Capitol building.
Half, you think?
Property. Probably half from the whole state.
I know that they went way overboard with the police here, and I don't want to sound racist or anything, but Arkansas is racist as fuck. And
This is hot. I just wanted to sport it for a minute. Repping the Vanguard there, but
I got a good picture of you in here. Like I was trying to upload pictures of stuff that happened. Wait, is this you?
yeah, that's me.
That's you. I got some good pictures from y'all. And like I was able to upload some of these pictures and stuff like that. But then my computer started having a fucking shit fit. So tomorrow I'm gonna share all the pictures and videos and talk about them on the Daily Show too, because I couldn't get I couldn't get everything uploaded for some reason. The internet's been bad ever since the 6th. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy nut, but I think it may be a little bit on purpose.
It's possible.
So like y'all were outnumbered and y'all were out there and there was like how many boys were there? Like 3?
So what happened was me and Seawolf got there first. I followed him there from the diner that we grabbed lunch at before we went out. We get there. He goes up to the Capitol building to let the police know that we're coming. We're armed, and we're not trying to start anything. We're just here to talk to people. You know, this is not a breach the Capitol building. This is not a Trump MAGA anything. This is just a few of us coming to talk to whoever's willing to listen. Well, on his way back, he's followed by around, I don't know, 20, 24 members of the press.
Good Lord. Y'all had way more press than we did.
Yeah. And I was getting my gear on at the time. I already had my face covered, thankfully. I didn't want the media to have my face.
Right.
I don't mind it on here amongst the boys and people that follow us. It just, I didn't want to be on live television or national TV or some shit with my face out there.
Yeah.
And
see, I usually don't wear a mask out there, but I did yesterday.
So I guess they didn't know what to think of us at first because they're real cautious, right? And they're like, is it all right if we ask you some questions? I'm like,
yeah,
that's why we're here. Like, I know a lot of boys don't talk, but this is literally why we're here. So they interviewed the two of us, and we very patiently answered some of the most misinformed and asinine questions I've ever dealt with.
Yes.
Oh God, like what? Okay, give us some examples. Like what kind of stuff did they ask y'all? And you can pipe in here too, Dad, if you want. I'm calling you Dad.
I'm just letting him finish his story, brother.
Yeah, you guys. Well, yeah, no. Finish the story, and I'll ask you about the inane questions.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I mean, we're both patient with him. We talk about who we are, what we're about. The Boo Boys are not. We're not violent right-wing extremists. We're not even on their left-right spectrum. We're not seeking violence. We're just prepared to defend against it. And eventually we get them to get out of their preconceived shell. They understand that, like, hey, and this was actually put on Twitter that I said, no, I am neither a fan of Trump nor Biden. We don't really care about the election at all. And that threw them off because they did not expect that, especially after the way CNN and large outlets have been pressing this since what happened in DC. So after me and him both talking to different groups at a time have done this for like 45, 50 minutes.
Wow.
They finally start relaxing on us. By that time, Lady Liberty, LiberTEA had joined us.
I love her so much.
Yeah, that's my compadre right there. So they've got not just the Capitol, but every block surrounding it blocked to traffic. So, and there's got to be altogether at least 3 or 4 dozen squad cars around those blocks. If that just gives you an idea of how many police that has to be. Plus, they had we saw 2 Humvees with National Guard. I know there were more. I'm not sure where they were. There were some suspiciously cracked windows in the Capitol building, so that makes me wonder.
Huh.
But so the 3 of us cross that barricade. Everybody's eyes are on just us.
Mm-hmm.
We walk up to the front of the Capitol building, and then that's when that picture with me and Chris standing there in front of it. That's when that picture was taken. And all the pictures that you have there were actually taken by the Courier Journal.
Well, that's fair of them. I mean,
yeah, they were like we really like changed some of their perspectives on who we are. And by the time we were done, there was a couple of them that seemed like they were kind of like sympathetic to what we were trying to be about. Not that they were on board with it; they are pressed, but
at least they had a better idea than getting a mainstream narrative that they have parroted to them in their workplace.
Yeah, and one of them tried to downplay the whole, like that was the focus point that they made, was that the police outnumbered the protesters, right?
Yeah.
But that was like such a minor detail of all the interaction that we had with the press. Is kind of disappointing on that one. Seawolf actually had his phone in his pocket recording the entire interview. So he's going to get a hold of them and make them change it.
Awesome.
That was some Kentucky outlet. I forget what the name. But we were there for about 15 or 20 minutes, just the 3 of us out there in front of the Capitol. We had a couple more random follow-up questions. They took more pictures and stuff. And then United Pharaohs Guard from Louisville was there, but they were off towards the other side. When they finally noticed us, they came over and joined us.
I was so glad to hear that they showed up.
Yeah, and they had almost 2 dozen people with them. So
wow,
that changed the atmosphere. It was we weren't standing off against the police, but it had that feel about it.
Yeah, that's exactly what the chat there reminds me of what previous pre J17 events were like in the community. Feed homeless people, go out and
yeah.
teach, freedom and take care of each other, and we can rely on each other, not necessarily the government. And people keep forgetting that the government is not necessarily for our protection.
right?
It's there for a guidance. We don't necessarily have to follow that guidance.
Well, apparently yesterday it was there for their protection.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah,
It was very clear that that was what it was for. Like, we had way more police presence, and thankfully, because we had a chance to touch base with like the locals, they were all really chill about it, you know. And the Capitol Police were like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I think I saw a couple of them looking like they were rolling their eyes at shit and stuff. But the state police were fucking all over the place, making a big deal out of it. I think that they were a little disappointed because they looked like they were there to like really stop some shit. And then we showed up and we were like, oh, so how many people are you massive group of police expecting? And they looked at us and they were like, I guess 6. And
wow.
But that's the one. This event ended up being so much different than we expected it to be, because they did get your regular people to stay home.
yeah, they
But-
did.
But
Not all of them, though. We did have some random civilians that came, like civvy, normal people, normies. I don't even want to call them normies because they were willing to come out there despite what everybody had said. You can't call them normies, you know what I mean? But we did have some normal, non-us people come out, which was
Yeah.
nice.
Oh,
Did
man,
you guys
there
have
was
any of
huge
those?
protesters. They came out besides us, and then there was some BLM protesters that came out besides us. When we rolled up to the Capitol, we were the only ones there, except for the press and all the law enforcement. There was nobody else there.
That was
Did-
how it
did
was
you-
for us.
Did you guys have any normal or I gotta get the fingers up here and be like normal, normie
No.
people come out
Normie people.
over there, Mando?
We had people out there that showed up just to walk their dogs because it was a nice day, or go outside and spend some time on the Capitol lawn because it was a nice day with their kids. They weren't there to do anything other than just enjoy the weather because it
Yeah.
was unseasonably warm for Utah. But
That's right. You're out of Utah. I remember.
when we
talking-
rolled up there, Utah Highway Patrol had roaming patrols around the Capitol. We pulled up and parked. We convoyed there so that nobody had to show up and be identified if they didn't want to. So we tried to keep everyone's identity safe that way. We all got out, put on our gear, walked to the lawn, and it was probably 15 minutes before even the press decided to approach us because they were a little unsure about what our message was, you know what I mean? We had signs, flags. I was carrying my scar. We had a bunch of other guys carrying rifles, and then some just carrying pistols. And they were carrying signs that said, abolish qualified immunity and police unions. And our other sign said, what was it? Sorry, I got brain damage.
You
I
and me
forget
both.
what the other one said at the moment, but it was just something about a libertarian message, right? Oh, it was pardon whistleblowers, pardon Assange,
Yes.
Snowden,
Pardon Assange. Pardon
and free Ross.
Snowden.
That I
Free
can get
Ross
behind,
Roldbrecht.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was our message, right? With our boogaloo flags, and we stood there for quite a while. And then the international press approached first. We had A&P News there. They interviewed
Nice.
one of our members. We tried to talk more as a group to tell them we weren't there with a leader, you know. We were there as all individuals, just saying we needed to stand up against government as individuals because they always encroach on our lives. And that's what our message was to the press. And they would repeat their questions like, oh, aren't you guys white supremacists? Or have you heard about the white supremacists? Or what do you think about that stuff? And they would try to push that message, and we would always tell them that that's never been the message from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I was surprised they didn't ask us about the white supremacy stuff where we were in Arkansas. But they did ask each and every single one of us if we were there for Trump. Like, they all thought they were gonna, if we were there for Trump or Biden, and like each and every one of us said no, or we don't care about that stuff or whatever. And like I think that may have been a bit disappointing to them, like because they were stuck on it so hard. Like I remember there was an article written afterwards, and they were so stuck on it that every time they brought up a new person that they talked to, they had to basically derail the article to add in, and they weren't here for Trump or Biden, which was, I was glad they said that, but they did it in such a way that the composition was bad.
Yeah.
And it was distracting. Like as a writer, that fucking bugged the hell out of me. And thank you if you're out there watching this for writing that. I appreciate it. You could have left out the part about Boogaloo Boy. Like they got all the way down to the bottom and it was good. And then at the bottom, they're like, the Boogaloo is an alt-right group that wants a civil war, which is really funny because they quoted me talking about how the polarization is horrible and we need to bring people together again. And then shortly after that, they were like, they want a civil war. And I'm like, the dissonance is showing in the very article itself. Like they were so confused that they couldn't conceal that the narrative was busted. And that excites me. Do you guys have any experiences like that? Do you think that you guys like killed the narrative?
We did. I think we did as a group with some people who showed up, just wondering what we were about. We talked to a few individuals for probably an hour or more. One of them decided to stay with us and stand with our group, even though he wasn't willing to stand with any other group in Utah before that. So I think that says a lot about what our group shows.
I do too. That's fucking exciting to hear. I really like that.
That actually happened in Florida too.
They
had 4 boys there, and this other guy, like some 19-year-old dude, came up, started talking to him, asking what they were about. He ended up hanging out with him. They took him out to eat afterwards. He's kind of getting plugged in with them already.
Nice.
That is pretty cool.
Recruitment drives for liberty. I fucking love it.
That's how you do liberty and book movements. Basically, you show them. What?
That was the original message of January 17th from the beginning.
Yeah, it's like
so that we could do that.
It's just like I guess what's happening is the narrative from the far left and far right, as the extremists have taken over the airwaves, and the mainstream media loves extremism because that makes them the most clicks and the most views.
It also takes police to work because they're naturally the loudest voices.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, this. It's sort of like when Trump got the most coverage of the 2016 election. They didn't have to do much because Trump would be blustery about what he would say. And he would have no holds barred. It's like, well, we don't really have to interview this guy. He'll say whatever he wants to say on air. And it's like, this is free money for us.
Yeah.
I have a question. So do you think that they were hyper focused on the red flyer in y'all's area? Because I know that they were on ours. Because when we mentioned that there was a bunch of different flyers, it seemed like that was the first time they had heard about it.
I think everybody everywhere focused on that one. That was our trial flyer. We didn't even push it out when we made it. We
not
showed
really. Like up there in the corner, if you guys are.
Yeah, curious. We showed it in groups that in movement groups that we had on MeWe and stuff. We took some criticism from what people felt about it. We went back. We started from scratch and gave a cleaner, less hostile message, and we kept with that from then on. But everybody focuses on the one.
Hey, Mando and Mike, put that image back up that you just showed, all the flyers. I want to tell you something really quick that it's been floating around. There is a flyer floating around
about
the run. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Mike?
I do know what you're talking about.
Okay.
It was a coronation watching party or something like that.
Yeah, but basically
they took our flyer and they took the flyer. It's exactly the same.
Some group, I don't know, Antifa maybe, or probably some group. It could be Chinese. It could be a Russian hack. I don't know, spy. There is some group out there that took that one flyer and had the same image, same Statue of Liberty, same color, and turned that image around or turned the lettering to say, "This is a revolution. Rise up." And so on and so forth, and they put like little stars on there. So I'm thinking
it
that
looked the same. It looked
Ours
the
had
same.
stars, and they put little.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who? Someone stole that.
I do not know where it came from, though.
But we need to deflate that narrative quickly, because
that was definitely not us.
Someone is changing that narrative, whether to denounce us, denounce there's the other side, or to enhance their own side. I don't know, because this came out of the blue. It's sort of like what 4chan does. They take a meme and return it back to the sender with a different message. But this flyer looks like it was done poorly, because it was copied almost verbatim with a little bit of words changed and stars put on there. And I'm like, okay, this is not what the J17 or Book Movement or any of us would do. It is something somebody, Go ahead.
Our flyer designer was using CryCut software to copy and paste and get everything where we wanted it on the flyer, to make it all clean, to make it all even. That one looked more like it'd been done in Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yes, it was really bad.
We did have more than one person making flyers at the
if it's bad enough, I start to suspect the government of doing it.
Oh, that's true. It could be the CIA not really knowing how to do a flyer. So it's like, hey, let's copy this flyer and just change it a little bit. No. It's like, no, you're not fooling us.
Here's my advice for whoever made that flyer. Just use Canva. Like, it's free. Like, all you got to do is go to the Canva website, and you can they have templates. You can use those and put your own stuff in the template and make your own flyers, and it doesn't look like MS Paint.
And don't steal our shit, damn it.
Yeah, and stop stealing our shit. Be original, for God's sake. I mean, I don't believe in intellectual property, so actually I have to say steal our shit if you want to, but don't be a dick.
Right.
I would say, I think what they were trying to do was trying to be sly, but in essence, they realized how amateur they really were. And so in order for them to be very creative, they had to put stars on it. So, I mean, amateur hour, happy hour here, man.
Yeah.
Whoever originally designed.
They got rid of the stars from ours and put the little. It looked like a child drawing birds.
Yeah, it was originally really like birds a piece or something like that.
No, the stars were on the original one.
Oh, okay, well,
it was the other way around.
It was a weird looking way of saying, hey, there's going to be a rally. Hint, hint. A peaceful protest. Hint, hint.
It was kind of weird when I saw that. I was like, what the hell? No, that's not ours. Look at it. It's crap.
Right-wing media is pushing this around, this narrative that this flyer's far left. So just know that.
They said wink, wink on it.
No, it didn't say wink.
No, it did not say it. But that was my interpretation of it, Mando.
It might as well have, Mando.
Because I was about to say, if it did, I would be wondering about your dude that you followed that did the YouTube video about our message. Remember that?
Oh yeah, like they were pushing that out too. Like Jaden X, that John Sullivan piece of shit, dude.
Yeah, that guy.
Like, I think that, like, not to go up on a tangent on another thing, and I'm gonna do a fucking episode about this on its own.
You better.
I've been saving up episodes for the Daily Show now that J17 is passed, because like I was really busy all the time and very tired all the time. And I'm not gonna lie, I probably kept Mando up too late on multiple occasions, just being like, "What if this happens? What if this happens?" I'm not gonna lie, I was very nervous about it.
I was having
a lot of people were nervous about it.
I was having
a lot of people in our group were nervous about going.
Mike, not just you. I was having calls like that with people every night for like 3 weeks.
Well,
By the time yesterday got here, I was just kind of like, that was why I wasn't afraid to just walk out there and just risk it all, because I was like, thank God, either way, it's going to be the fuck over.
Be fucking done, and people will stop calling me at midnight. And you know, I feel a little bit bad, but not too bad, because usually in my group, I'm the one that people call panicking about shit, and I have to do that. I was very thankful that there was somebody for me to call panicking about that shit, because there are not a lot of people I will do that with. I appreciate it.
Well, I knew when I started it, over time we had a couple of the people bow out. I knew that somebody was going to have to dedicate their time to it. I treated the entire event. I treated it just
camp
as seriously.
Counselor.
I treated it just as seriously as I do the entirety of the Vanguard, because anything worth doing needs to be done right.
Yeah, it does. And I cannot fucking say how much I appreciate that over and over and over again. You are due a major hug from me. I'm not gonna lie. Hopefully that happens soon. Here's one of the things that people I know were worried about. Do you think that they let us go out there and be peaceful and didn't dick with us so that they could just try to collect our numbers and find out more about us and stuff like that?
They already have them.
Yeah.
And
my answer was, well, they already know who the fuck I am.
Well, let me put it this way. So, Seawolf, he's not even in the planning group. You know that. Mike. Yeah. They know, and here's how I know they know. Because he received a phone call from an FBI field agent in Lexington. And this guy was clueless. He's like, please tell me what the hell you're doing. What is this thing? Well, they didn't fucking know, man. Like, they know who we are, and they know how to get a hold of us if they want to. They had no fucking clue what this was supposed to be.
No, they didn't.
Which means, as far as hiding ourselves as long as we could, we've really, really did our job.
Yeah, but I think we've hidden for too long. I
think
hiding is over.
Well, I mean, as far as trying to get people on board with the event. If people knew from the get-go that these rallies were Liberty Movement, Boogaloo involved, or whatever, the vast majority of Americans would have just shrugged it off and forgot about it. The media would have never looked at it.
Make Hawaiian shirts great again.
It gave us a ton of free press that we would never have gotten that.
No, we would not.
Well, that's true. I mean,
see, all of the confusion and the panic it gave us a stage, and I think that we performed wonderfully on it, no matter where.
And let's say this: shout out to the feds listening in. You guys are great press agents.
Yes, you are.
That's one thing that our tax dollars are going to. Our tax dollars are going to press, the real press, agents, the press agents of the federal agencies that dictate how we should do our protests.
Agent would call me, so I'm not so lonely all the time.
Well,
yeah, I mean, like, there's some nights when I'm like, man, it's real quiet. Maybe I should just start getting on there and being like, hey, Craig, what are you doing? Like, call me. Just call me, man. I know you got my number. Let's talk.
You want to meet up for a drink or something?
No, you can say, hey,
let's have some coffee.
CIA agent, I'm opening up an OnlyFans. Get ready.
Now everyone's going to see my butthole.
Wait. So are we on the verge here of now doing an Adopt the Fed program?
Adopt a Fed program.
No, we should do an OnlyFans for the Fed. Think about that.
I think we're already there as a nation.
No, well, we could privately fund the federal government. If we open an OnlyFans, we could literally privately fund the federal government doing that.
I saw a meme about how Trump can't get on any social media, so he's going to open an OnlyFans, and that's terrifying.
Actually, he's I think the White House is on Library/Odyssey, but not very long because he only has 2 more days on it. And the other one he was on was, or supposedly he was on, what's the other one? BitChute. But even though the White House is officially on there, it's not a real Donald Trump account.
There's a picture of Melania with Trump behind her on a phone, and someone put words on it that says, "He stole my phone and now he's rage tweeting."
I like that.
Before we get off onto the social media and memes and stuff like that, speaking of which, I laughed my ass off afterwards because they were like, "What got you all started? How did you guys all meet?" And all of us just looked up and went, "Memes."
Memes. Remember the
I'm
meme
still
war.
chuckling about that.
It was
Honestly,
all,
I
it was all
didn't.
built out there, the meme wars.
Yeah,
The meme wars, man. Don't forget about
Like-
that. It's like pre-Gamergate, I think.
I didn't. I personally didn't talk very much out there. Like I did a little bit of talking, but on it, I wanted everybody else to get a chance to speak. Because I talk all the time, and everybody was great. Like everybody was great. They spread off in a group. You know, like we were all standing there, and there were different press questioning each and every one of us, and everything like that. And they would move around, and so like I feel like we didn't have like an established leader either, and it looked very, you know, just everybody was together and stuff like that.
I wanted
Did
to
any
share,
of
I wanted to
did-
share something on our end too that we have going on now, which
what
Mike,
do you guys got?
I might want your help with this actually.
Whoa.
So at least three different outlets asked for contact information. So Chris gave them his Proton mail. I now have access to it too, so that we can talk to them and relay for future events and stuff.
Information,
And
yeah.
we're thinking about actually doing our own podcast to send straight to them.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea, actually.
To the media podcast, like media, like statements, or
Kind of. I mean,
basically like
we'd still broadcast it out to the boys
to
and all,
everybody else too.
but we could send it through that Proton mail directly to them.
Mhm.
Sort of like a press release, but instead this is
It's a pod release.
the pod release.
It's just
a
us.
press
You
pod.
know, they actually get to hear us, you know, without their questions, just us talking about what we believe in, what we value, what we want to see happen.
I got even a better name, a Hawaiian shirt release.
There you go.
Yeah,
There was a lot of people worried that there was going to be infiltrators. Like I had some of the people here, like it was not one person. Like I had at least half a dozen people sending me emails like all week leading up, being like, "Please don't go. We don't want anything to happen to you. Please don't go." And I was like, I'm not gonna not go. Like I have gone out there by myself to be surrounded by people who were not necessarily originally like super friendly. Like they were, because of the paranoia, not because they're assholes, but because of the paranoia that's out there and stuff. And you know, honestly, I felt more threatened in those situations than I did in this one once we got out there, because they gave us a lot of space, you know.
Oh, I wanted to verify something. I did see this on a news article. I forget whose it was, but they said that there has been 0 reports of any violence or any arrest in all 50 states.
Yeah.
that's how you do
I'm
it.
really glad that there were no arrests. There was no violence. As far as
Hold
I
up.
understand, everybody was
Can't hear
fine.
you guys.
Oh shit, Creep is here and he can't hear anyone.
One sec. I can't hear any of you guys. Give me one
Oh,
sec.
for God's sake. All right, I'll give him a second to redo that. But honestly, like, now that he got twisted around, let's see if that worked. Did that help? Did that help?
Jesus Christ.
It's not helping. We're having technical difficulties with the Ancom. He'll be back in a second. One of the things that did you guys have people leading up to this telling you maybe you shouldn't go and stuff like that? Were your people afraid for you and stuff like that?
Man, I heard this shit called Fed Trap so many damn times.
Oh my God, a bazillion times. It was like, this is a trap by everybody.
And if anybody listening was hollering that at me, now that you've seen what we do, feel free to come to the next Fed Trap with me.
Yes, because
real.
the Fed traps are really comfortable. Sometimes there are donuts.
Donuts
I wish there
are
was
hey,
donuts.
donuts are not a bad thing. I appreciate the cops' business.
And I wanted to ask, like, I heard a lot of stuff went well in other places. Do you have any of the scoop on how well it went in other places?
Several I can fill in.
Yeah, would you mind real quick so that we can tell? Let me check on Creep again. Can you hear us now, buddy?
Hmm. Yeah, I still can't hear you guys. It's completely
God.
silent. That's so weird.
Oh wait, you can't fucking hear me. I'm gonna text.
But,
Tell the
okay.
stories. I'm gonna text him and tell him to restart his phone.
So let's see where to start. So there was there was one guy in Keybase, in the Vanguard Keybase, Alpha Whiskey.
Yeah.
He went to the Capitol in Iowa by himself.
Oh wow, brave.
With a bullhorn.
Okay.
I don't think
Nice.
he said they just had like city police. I don't think they had like the presence that we did.
Yeah.
But he said he was there for 45 minutes or an hour. Just some people would stop and listen to what he was saying here and there. Just nobody really showed interest because it was one dude with a megaphone. So, but I mean, I got to give him props for doing it. You know, for sure.
Yeah, there
Also,
are a lot of people out there who would be like, well, it's not worth it, and then do nothing.
Yeah.
And then, like, honestly, it is worth it. Thank you for
I
going
told
out there
all
by
my boys,
yourself.
anybody who showed up today should be proud of themselves.
Yeah,
They're willing to do more than most of the nation.
Yeah,
and then
especially given the fear.
I think I think it was Rondak actually showed up at New York by himself. Nothing was really happening there. We had Justice and three more of his boys in Alabama. They went gray man because the capital Montgomery has some really strict carry.
Oh yeah. I just got an email. I live in Alabama, so I got an email about 2 days ago about strict. Now they're not as bad as DC or Lexington or any places like that, but what it was the appearance of all these troops in the Capitol, not necessarily stationed there. Now, the eyewitness accounts where there was not a whole lot of troop movement within the Capitol of Montgomery, but there was enough press out there to warn people not to come there. But there was not enough people to come there anyway, because it's like, why don't we go to Montgomery? I'm comfortable in my county. So, I mean, I don't want to. I agree that we need to do something, but I don't necessarily see Montgomery as the actions, because Alabama's constitution is messed up. So everything flows to Montgomery, and it's like spokes of a wheel. You can't really do anything within your own county. So it's like I really don't see Montgomery a lot of the times as a proper authority on anything. Really.
Yeah. But the plus side for the Bama boys is that's the first time that the four of them have been together in one place.
That's true.
Yes.
So they I mean they made a day of it. They went out and ate afterwards and everything, and like it was like a solidify thing for them.
I'll have to hit them up for the skinny of how good it went with them and everything like that.
Now Georgia, I think it ended up just being Roach and Caboose.
Yeah, it was. Caboose had something in the chat about that. Where is it?
They had the homeless. They had that homeless coat drive going there too.
Atlanta was uneventful. The Boogie Man and I took some stuff. Yeah, it is. Took some stuff to homeless people. Had to go to GoFundMe. We went to the corner with Liberty Jack, answered some questions, and chilled. So, yeah, it's almost uneventful like a lot of other places.
Honestly, I'm glad that it wasn't super eventful. I'm not saying that I'm glad that it was small everywhere. I wish it was bigger, but honestly, I'm really glad that nobody got hurt and nothing bad happened as far as I can tell out there.
We made the feds look like idiots for putting out
We
that
did.
report.
But
We
I do
made the
have.
feds look like idiots. We made the media look like fucking liars. We
And
made
you
the
made the
people on the
right look
right
like
and the
an idiot.
left. Well, yeah,
The-
and honestly, like Lady Defy here is saying here, talking about how the right is trying to make us look bad still. They are like they're out there yelling. Well, they're not they're not nonpartisan. These people are, like, and they're trying to still claim it. It's almost like it's raining purple water outside, and they're all out there going, "This isn't happening," and they're turning purple, and they're like, "There is no purple rain.
Well,
This isn't happening. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain." It seems desperate.
the actual far right thinks we're a bunch of leftists, and the far
Yeah.
left thinks we're a bunch of right wingers. So I mean, how much more nonpartisan can we get?
I know, right? Like, I don't understand how anyone could look at all the stuff going on out there and being said about us and not realize that we are not on anyone's side.
But
There's not a place for us on those sides.
But to continue, I do know a few more states, and these are
Yes, please do.
So, as they always do, Michigan was there in force. They had quite a few boys. They had some media, and of course, those boys
I
are.
saw images from there that I didn't get loaded.
A lot of boys there are big involved with the unity. They're involved with some Antifa members that are anarchist Antifa. They're not commie Antifa, or
Yeah.
like they like to call it, tankies.
Yeah, kind of like Creep. He's not he's Antifa, but he's not a tanky. He doesn't like that
Right.
shit.
And so
Yeah.
people, like, the message they had there, a lot of people had a really hard time swallowing that pill, because it's so, like, what they're doing is pretty unprecedented. Now,
Hello.
We got more people.
Dude, welcome, man. It's good to
What's
see you.
What's up, Mando?
Mando was just explaining to us how some of the other states went.
Okay.
I guess he can skip yours.
Yeah.
my sound got clicky again. There it goes.
Oh, we got you back.
I need to update my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so we also had a very good presence in Ohio. They had a lot of press exposure. Not all of it was great, but at least they had it.
Yeah.
And the other strong showing was Texas, which
Texas
nobody's
was huge
surprised
from
about
what I
that.
heard about.
I expected that. This whole time I expected Texas would have a great big showing,
Yeah.
and it seems like everything went well there too.
Yeah,
Texas
so
always gonna be big.
it's kind of weird, because as far as, like, the impact we've had in the media, Texas, Ohio, and Michigan had the biggest showings, and they had a lot of media exposure. But oddly enough, the three of us in Kentucky probably had more, just because of the number of press we had there interviewing just the two of us.
But see, they don't want to talk about Kentucky though, because UPG was there, and that kind of, it's hard to paint us as spooky white supremacists when you have like a mostly black militia from Kentucky.
But the thing about it was, though, they interviewed some of them too. A couple of the articles that were written about it had quotes from some members of UPG.
Mm-hmm.
And they had UPG had a few other BLM protesters that came in tow with them. So, as far as our presence, it was the three of us. But towards the end of it, we actually had closer to 30 people present.
Oh, hey, we may have a Bama boy joining us here in a minute.
Oh, well, I am the Bama boy.
Well, another Bama boy.
Well, thank you.
You're my favorite Bama boy. No offense to anyone else, but
Hey,
MLTP first.
If we get two more people with that on the screen, we can call ourselves the Boogie Bunch.
Oh my God, the Boogie Bunch. The Boogie
Oh
Bunch.
my gosh. This is not that 70s show, man.
Everybody get a joint. We're gonna go in a circle.
No, take me back to the 80s, man. That's my game right there.
That 80s show sucked though.
It did, but there's a show called Halt and Catch Fire that was better.
Not to get off fucking topic, but were there any other states that are not present here that you heard stories about?
Let's see. I haven't heard anything about South Carolina. I know that North Carolina was fairly dead.
Virginia was dead. I do know that there was plans to, but after what happened,
well, Virginia was planning on doing theirs on today.
Yeah.
January 20th.
Yeah,
18th. Yeah.
They did go out. They did go out today. I haven't heard much about it. But,
I know
Dunn was around and doing stuff, and they were out there. They were, accomplishing something. So I just haven't heard the news about it.
Because of their regular rally day or whatever it is they were doing today. I forget what they call it. They had a lot of presence from a lot of other people.
Like Black Panthers were down there. I tuned in the stream and I saw heavy duty rolling Black Panthers there, which sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's fucking awesome.
I always like seeing Black Panthers.
They're berets, man. It's the berets. They look stylish.
I'm not gonna lie, they look fucking slick. Like holy shit. I feel intimidated, not because I'm afraid of them, but because of how fucking slick they look. Like I'm not even gonna lie. That shit is on fleek.
Like they got their like fancy berets and shit, and we're just sitting here in our Hawaiian shirt. God damn, guys.
I know.
Yeah, we're a bunch of goofy motherfuckers. I can't imagine why anybody is afraid of us. Like, to be honest, when I'm on the ground, nobody is fucking afraid of me. I'm 4'11".
Well, see, that's the thing is I'm fucking tall and I'm a pretty big dude, but I'm also like every single picture you'll find me on the internet, I have the biggest stupid fucking smile on my face that you'll ever see because that's just my personality. So they desperately try. They'll be like dangerous right-wing militia group Boogaloo Boys, and there's me just like.
Well, they never tried that shit they never ever try that shit in Arkansas because like most of the time it's literally just me, and if they did that they would look like morons.
Right.
Because like I am 2 inches away from legal midget. Not that I give a crap about legality, but yeah.
I'm 5'5". It could be worse.
It works though because like people think I got balls. Because like I'm willing to go out there by myself and I look like the Lollipop Guild, and like it got me a lot of like I think that it made it easier for me to talk to people to an extent because I look like a crazy leftist with my purple mohawk and everything, so like they were less intimidated by it and they were willing to talk to me. And honestly, like I can't go out to a protest without people like yelling either short dude or Mike or whatever and hugging me and stuff. So I think we have a different climate here with some of the right wingers, and I never see Proud Boys. Like I never see them.
Lucky.
I
only speak for Michigan, but lucky because in Michigan and I think Ohio too, they fucking hate us.
Well, I've saved up a bunch of messages. I'm gonna share with them if I see one, but I ain't seen one yet down here, so we're lucky. Yeah.
They don't like us here in Utah either. I got into it with them on the 6th.
Nope. That's what
I mean. I know there was a video floating around out there where someone was like, "We hope the Proud Boys don't show up. We do not want you here."
That was Ohio.
Yeah, and I couldn't get all of the videos to upload, so I'm definitely gonna do like a sprawl through videos. So if you're out there and you have something that you want shared, fucking get that into my message box or just talk to me somewhere, because like I'll add that into the reel, because I want to literally put all the videos together of us talking about how we're there for unity and how, because that's all it was. It was like we're all here for liberty. We don't like Trump, we don't like Biden, we're just here, like all this stuff was really great that I've seen so far, and I want to put it together in a reel and just show everybody.
If anyone finds my full speech, which the media is like allergic to posting it, please send it to me because I can only find that last 30 seconds.
Ours for that reason.
Yeah, I want to see the whole
Yeah.
thing myself. Like I was there, so I got the full speeches that people did here, and I'm definitely gonna play those. I hope that doesn't embarrass the crap out of you guys, but y'all were good, and you said good things, and so I need to share them.
Yeah, it hit 1 million views as of like an hour ago, and I don't know how to
Oh
deal
my
with it.
god,
I'm
you're
freaking
internet
out.
famous.
Hashtag weird famous. Hashtag weird famous. I don't get any money or clout or attention. Just a bunch of people looking at me weird, and that's hashtag weird famous.
So now we
Hashtag
have
weird
2
famous.
Boog boys that
instead of dude, you got a deal. Dude, you got famous.
Hey, though, that's what I wanted. Like, that's one of the things that I was hoping would come out of J17 was that more faces would be out there, more voices, because like they can't get over the fact that we don't have a leader. Like that,
Yeah.
this is not a fucking big giant Soros funded organization with a leader. Like that just blows their fucking minds. And I mean, I know that Antifa gets the same shit. You know, because a lot of the you know.
Back from when I was in my
reminding me of my pain.
back when I ran with Anonymous a lot and did organizing for Anonymous, you get the same question all the time. Are you the leader? Are you the spokesperson? And that obviously happened on J17 in Michigan after I gave my speech. Like the 100 gaggle of Vulture reporters are like, so you're the leader of the Boogaloo? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, and I would not tell you if I
God,
was.
like,
because you guys
okay,
wanna
first
kill me.
off, I just want to be fucking frank with any of you guys out there trying to figure out who the leader of the Boogaloo is. Anyone in the Boog that has been here for more than a month would kill themselves before they got that job, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Calling it hurting cats would be offensive to cats. Like,
yeah, like
you think I can lead these guys? Ain't nobody telling them what to do.
I refer to it as trying to guide cats gently with a blow dryer.
One of our Vanguard boys put it this way. He said it's like herding cats. But there's that goat, there's that llama, there's that wild boar over here. And for some reason, there's a rabbit chasing a hamster. And you're corralling them too.
And someone's shooting fireworks off outside, so like everything's
Right?
in the door.
I think that it's hard for people to understand because a lot of people out there are more statist, and their mindset is basically that you can't exist without a leader. And we have grown, and our message is so big, and we have so many enemies and so much all this other shit that people perceive that we look like a big thing. And I think that people think we're like they assume that we have to have a leader, otherwise we wouldn't exist.
You just say,
the truth is, just like Lady Defy said there when I popped it up, we lead ourselves, which can be a problem some days. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like some days I'm kind of like, I wish somebody would just organize everything, but then I think, oh God, no.
we would kill each other. Like,
anytime somebody even remotely looks like they're trying to be in charge of some shit, I'm like, hey, fuck you, man, fuck you. I didn't vote for you, and I don't vote. Voting is fucking force. Fuck you.
Honestly,
Mike, real quick, how do I share this out? I got some friends and family that want to watch me embarrass myself, and I don't want to. I accidentally gave them the join stream link, and they're like, "Why is it asking to use my microphone?" And I was like, "Oh no, close it out, close it out."
All the links here.
For the love of God.
Honestly, that was. Honestly, that was
like a shirtless bald man just appear in the bottom of the screen out of nowhere.
There, they have options. I sent you some options.
Signal.
Yeah, in order to get to it, it might. Oh wait, you're on the. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can totally do it. But yeah, like anybody, please share this stuff because like it'd be really nice to get this out there because I'm sure. Well, I like the fact that like they talked about us and it was pretty neutral.
They struggled to figure us out.
Yeah, it was probably the nicest. This weekend was probably the nicest shit the media has ever fucking said about us. I'm not gonna even lie.
And I think like the most important thing happened to where the Antifa and BLM people that came with us to Lansing, Now all of a sudden everyone's claiming that they're fake Antifa and that like they're secret Trump supporters and everything. And then they're like yelling in their Instagrams, their Discords and Signals, like, no, I've been part of this movement in this community for like 6 years. You're stupid. And I'm like, you understand our pain. You finally understand our pain.
I'm totally guilty. I'm totally guilty, even though I know that like not all Antifa know each other. Like anytime an Antifa person does something fucked up, I'm like, dude, what is fucking wrong with this person to freaking creep? And he's like, fuck, I don't know who the hell that is.
That's the thing is like getting to know everybody and getting to know all these movements, like the amount of drama and clusterfucks and people leaving and coming and communication issues that happen inside the Boog happen to Antifa and they happen to BLM and they happen to environmental organizations. Like
we can all bond over it.
There's an inside joke within Antifa and BLM movements, and it's that the FBI tries to infiltrate us and go into our Twitters and shit, and they just find a bunch of people arguing and canceling each other.
I know there was, I think it was like 1998 or whatever, the FBI put out an official statement that they were struggling to infiltrate anarchist groups due to the amount of language and obscure literature they had to learn to like blend in. They're having a really hard time.
That's fucking funny.
And it's like, yeah, they join our Signal chat. We're talking about like fucking dads and like liberty and things like that. And like, what the hell is going on?
What is going on? Yeah, I know it can't be. Like we speak in memes sometimes. Like
what is the second annual Burlington Coat Factory summer sale? Why are they talking about that?
What is this? Like they're never going to be able to set up a comprehensive guide to infiltrating any of these groups, and that's great. I fucking love anarchists and individualists because we're so hard to figure out because we are each and every one an individual, like a singular individual nation unto themselves.
I wonder how many feds have started trying to dig into what we are or Antifa or Anonymous and tried to dig in and tried to learn it. And then one day they're suddenly like, oh my God, they're right.
Dude, I've seen so many memes like that. They're like radicalizing the FBI by making them watch me talk about this shit.
Like, no, I'm not online at 4 a.m, like watching like the Philadelphia bombing where they bombed that black neighborhood because the Weather Underground was. I'm not watching that for my benefit. That's for the FBI. So they see it on my screen. Like, oh,
yeah, right. I'm
oh
like,
my God.
Man, I have read about Contra 50,000 times, but I think I'm just gonna put it on my screen and then go do the line.
Right.
Hey, Mike, quick break. I want to bring someone in. Hey, can you hear us, Laughlin?
I can hear you. Can y'all hear me?
Yep,
we can hear you. Yes, you're a go.
I'm working off. All right, I'm working off my phone. So
okay, you're a go. Is there anything you wanted to say, right quick?
So going off what you were saying earlier, the more people that get known to the media other than Dunn make this a more because right now he's the only one the media knows, right? When they want to go interview a boy, they go interview him. So the more of us that get known to the media in some capacity or another, the better, because it makes us, it very much makes us seem like a more ideologically diverse movement.
Right. That's why I'm kicking myself over all of this, because I could have got I could have got CNN, I could have got Fox News. They all are offering me business cards, but I assumed I was going to make this dumb speech. There was 10 of us, and then we would leave, and like 3,000 people maybe would see it. And then I woke up this morning and it has 1 million views, and I'm like, ooh. I probably should have took all those reporters' cards. Like, fuck.
And not just that, but even the 30 minutes that they do have. Yeah. And even the 30 minutes that I was able to see on Twitter was a very unpropagandized cut of it. They didn't cut a bunch of stuff to make you seem violent. It was just the last 30 minutes.
Yeah, and they have done that in the past so many times.
Yeah, all the YouTube ones now that are up from like national media and everything, they only start at my warning to the government, which is literally my last paragraph of a 10-minute speech, and play that, and they're like, "See, he's threatening the government," and they don't realize that like when I say Americans are going to start becoming irrational, it's not us that are in this chat, it's not the boo.
No, it's all of them.
Yeah, if Republicans and Democrats start killing each other, we're all going to disappear in the woods and watch.
Well, I mean, I feel
we're
like
not participating in this shit.
a good example of them becoming irrational.
Yeah.
Because like once they got in there, they just kind of wandered around. They had no idea what they wanted. They just knew that they needed to like
dogs
bust in
chasing
there.
cars, the good old Joker thing. Once they caught it, they didn't know what the fuck they were gonna do with it. The amount of hard drives and emails and everything, they could have tore down the entire Washington establishment if they dumped all that in the internet. And instead they took selfies with cops and smoked weed, which awesome. Someone smoked weed in the Capitol building.
That's pretty cool. I saw
That's
that.
pretty fucking cool.
I did.
But
I thought that was great.
You missed the golden opportunity because
I mean, it's sort of like the most weakest rebellion I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Did you guys see?
It was a hog rebellion.
Right. Did you guys see the video I posted on my Twitter of it shows when Viking dude is walking into the building.
Yeah.
And the cops like escorting him, and there's a dude on the floor,
yeah.
and he's like, dude's like bleeding. He's like, I got shot in the mouth. And the cop's like, you need medical attention? He's like, no, I'm good.
Nah,
I'm just like, walking away. And he's like, the cop's like, this is the most sacred place. I know you guys are in here, but just be respectful. And Viking dude's like, yeah, bro. And he walks up on the podium, and it's like, the more I see from that day, the more I'm like, I do not understand what the fuck happened.
Yeah, this is.
Because in one video you got people
annoyed.
beating cops and like killing each other, and then the other video you got like a guided tour through the Capitol with a dude dressed as a Viking.
No wonder people think it's a psyop,
Right?
Because it's so confusing. Like it makes no sense.
Sometimes our memes don't make sense unless we show them to the whole world. But this is how things got started. We have great memes now.
Yeah.
Continue for the next year.
As Maxwell points out, the Q shaman dude that is currently being held in jail, and he went on a hunger strike because they wouldn't feed him organic food.
Yep.
We live in clown world.
Jack, the shamanist.
Yeah.
You serious? That is okay.
There were so many people coming out being like, he's a fake infiltrator Antifa. And I'm just like, I don't want to say how I know this, but I know that he's real.
Unfortunately.
He got on his personal Twitter. He got on his personal Twitter and tagged Rudy Giuliani, and he's like, Rudy, I'm not Antifa. I love you. I'm on your team. Please stop saying I'm Antifa.
Imagine telling that
Please,
man.
glorious leader.
Dude,
Have you-
to be honest, I don't know why he bothered, because it's very clear that dude does not know how social media works.
It's also you're tagging
Yeah.
a lawyer admitting that
Yeah.
you committed a federal crime.
Yep. I mean, hey, at least you did it in the most meme-ified way of getting arrested.
Oh yeah. The memes made that all worth it. The memes will live on forever.
Forever.
Call of Duty Capital Warfare.
Oh, the one where they're
kind of-
scaling the wall and it says Honky Kong.
Honky Kong, yeah.
Honky Kong.
I saw one where they were scaling the wall the other day, and it was like, in lieu of all the international close downs and stuff, America invaded itself to keep up with its usual and international interactions.
Right,
And I was
yeah.
just like,
With the 30,000 troops in Washington, it's like, God damn, we found oil at home.
Yeah, well, look, here's the thing. The only way we can have war against us is to do it between ourselves. No other country is going in and say, hey, you need to stop that. Or we're going to fund either side. There's no country that's going to fund either side to destroy America. You don't see any country physically invading America right now saying, hey, y'all need to stop that. It's like people are like, what is going on?
Well, but they also know that there's a bunch of people here who would literally mount their blue helmets on their wall right beside you.
I've said it a hundred times,
allegedly.
Allegedly, I have no intentions of a violent revolution. I will not participate in a civil war, but allegedly, if I ever see a blue helmet, I'm going to start collecting them.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft.
Of course, also, if blue helmets came here, that also wouldn't be a revolution. That would just be
Occupation.
A country came
It's
here. and
occupation,
invaded.
yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
And
It'd be
it's
an
funny.
invasion. Yeah.
It's funny because the Antifa and the BLM people that I talked to in a Rose City Antifa and then Michigan and Kentucky Antifa are like, yeah, we agree. Fuck the UN. If they show up, we'll be right next to you. And I'm like, dope.
No,
That's
Well,
I was gonna say real quick because Mike, I'm about to have to hop off.
thank
But,
you for coming, Mando.
Yeah, but to those of you that hopped in later when I was sharing what happened in Kentucky, after because we had a bunch of press time, and after we were done, at least 3 different outlets got Chris's Proton Mail contact, and he's shared me the access to it. So we're actually going to start keeping in more communication with the media here, giving some more voice, more presence.
honestly, that's great.
Good.
Yeah, I probably have to like contact everybody who was there on Twitter and being like, hey, this is me. I told you to go fuck yourself that day, but I'm willing to talk now.
I'm willing to talk now.
Because like I was getting legitimately mad at them because they were within arm's reach of us, and we're trying to walk up to the Capitol, and we have a bunch of loaded rifles and shotguns, and one dude with us had a pre-ban, like legal pre-ban fucking M16. So this thing's fully automatic. And these guys are within arm's reach of us with these giant cameras walking backwards. They're tripping over each other. They're bumping into each other. And I had to yell at them like, guys, we have loaded firearms. I'm going to trip I'm going to trip over one of you idiots, and someone's going to accidentally get shot. For the sake of gun safety, get the fuck away from me. And like, and then with COVID, like I'm smoking a cigarette, and like that's going into my body and out of my body. So like, yeah, like you probably don't want to stand around me. So I kept trying to walk away from the crowd of fucking reporters, and they would just follow.
And they would follow you. Yeah.
And our Antifa contact Rebecca that was there was like, I kept seeing the crowd just moving back and forth, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I'm like, yeah, I was trying to smoke a fucking cigarette without blowing fucking COVID smoke all over these reporters, but they don't care about social distancing all of a sudden, so they were all just inches away from me, and I'm literally like, there's video of me like walking with like my head down with a cigarette in my mouth, like just trying to scurry back and forth, and these reporters are just running after me like it's a football game.
Oh, that's another thing. That's another thing. Seawolf's going to try to get the full footage of our interviews.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That we had.
Yeah, if anyone can get any of those, please send them to me, because a lot of people are like, "Where's your full speech?" And I'm like, I myself have only seen the last 30 seconds of it.
I would like to see the whole thing for sure. We do like, I don't want to like get too far because like we keep touching on little things that we plan on talking about and stuff like that. But I wanted to give both of you guys a chance to tell people the story of like how everything went too, because you know, like we had Dad and Mando here talking about where they were at. So like, how was it where you guys were at? Whichever one of you who wants to go first.
Yeah, you could go first. I'm gonna quickly grab a cigarette. So
yeah.
Before you do, guys, it's good to see all of you.
Thank you, Mando.
I do
it's
need to
always a pleasure.
You know you're my favorite.
We love you.
Off as well.
We'll have you on any fucking time.
Mando season 2 needs to get better.
I need to catch up on it. It wasn't my fault, man.
I'm throwing the gauntlet down. Season 2 needs to get it.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's all right. I'm good.
Stay safe, but ultimately stay free.
Yep. You guys have a good one, boys.
See you later.
See you, Mando.
I gotta hop
right.
off too. I gotta go check on my boys.
Take
Well,
care, please. Thank you
DVD
for coming.
We've got to hook up
Please.
as Bama boys. There's not enough of us.
Hey, I'm
there's not
Bama
enough of
too.
us around.
Any of you guys are always welcome back. If
Yeah.
there's anything you want to say, or if you see we're talking about something in our lead up and you got something to say about it, just fucking hit me up. I'll pop you guys in here anytime.
Yeah, anytime, Mike.
Really
Thanks for the
appreciate
time.
you coming.
Appreciate it, brother. Have a
Thanks
good night,
for coming
buddy.
to share.
Yeah, you too.
This was an awesome episode so far. I hope you guys are enjoying it out there.
Sorry,
So how was it? No problem. It happens. How was it in Bama?
So me, Jaeger, Justice Redacted, and Nine Toes showed up to the Capitol. It was awful to park. There were cops everywhere, but no National Guard. and we showed up at the Capitol and stayed around there for about 30 minutes. Nobody showed up, and I mean nobody.
Yeah.
Just people going about their daily stuff. So we just met up and just went to lunch. Honestly, like it was dead as a stone.
Where'd you go to eat? I haven't been to Montgomery in years, so.
It was a local. It was like Sundown something.
Oh, I think I've heard that.
Yeah, it was just one of those locally owned, not chain places, and it was good. But I wish more people had showed up. Two of our members are ex 3%ers, so they got an invite. I know a guy who still has a Facebook account, so
that's a rare commodity.
Hey.
So
honestly, I don't mean to interrupt, but like we actually interviewed some of the Bama boys a couple of weeks ago. So if you guys are curious about that whole 3% thing and stuff, get in our videos and check that one out.
Yeah, they're cool guys, and they know a lot more about this than I do, honestly. But so I know a guy who still has a Facebook account, and
wow,
he managed to find, yeah, I know, right? And he managed to find the BLM Birmingham chapter, which I didn't know they had one. So I sent a message along through him, and nobody showed up. But I mean,
a lot of people were scared.
Yeah,
some crazy shit was gonna go on.
But I can have that guy, and he's not really part of the Boogaloo movement, but he's a libertarian, so we've went through other stuff, and so he can. I've asked him to monitor the BLM Birmingham Facebook page to see if there's any stuff we could show up at the future. Obviously unarmed because of our laws, but just give them a couple extra bodies.
It's nice to hear that libertarians showed up, because like I'm not gonna be gentle. I kind of expected the LP to get out here. They're consistently talking about how they have low numbers and they need to get their numbers up, but they don't come outside very often. Not unless
it's the perfect chance
specifically to campaign for. You're not going to find them. And those that do go out to do the things they preach about, and who you are, they don't get seen because they just do it, and I love that. But if you want to bring people into the movement, you have it's not a movement, into the party, you have to be willing to go out there and show people that you're going to do the things that you're telling people to believe will happen. Otherwise, why are they to believe that that's going to happen at all? Like right now, we have the problem where people rely on the government to do the things that should be done instead, and they don't believe that individuals will do these things. We have to show them. It's not clout chasing at this point. It's literally proving it.
Yeah.
And I hate that. And those of you out there giving people shit about clout chasing because they're in front of a video camera or something, fuck off.
No, yeah, like people gotta understand that word doesn't mean anything. Like clout chasers are people that are claiming credit for things they didn't do, or pretending they're more important than they are, or saying shit like I'm the only one doing this, or blah blah blah. That's clout chasing. Like jumping in front of a camera and stumbling your fucking way through something is not clout chasing. I did that. I hate clout. The fact that people are hitting me up makes me physically fucking uncomfortable.
At this point, I'm a bit demoralized with the LP because they had a perfect chance, and there was somebody who had said they were going to come out and speak, and they actually texted me while I was out there, and I was like, yeah, we're here and there's press and stuff, but there's not a lot of civvies here, but like come on out. And they never even nothing happened. And I was like, this was a perfect chance for the LP to get a little press too.
Yeah, Spike and Vermin are the only ones that have like my respect right now, because the entire time
yeah,
that
they
was,
got
event
out
was
there.
going on, Spike and Vermin were just shit posting us fucking constantly.
Yeah, they were.
Like,
and like Vermin
everyone
is,
else was silent about it.
Yeah. And like I don't even trust Spike, but I am appreciative of the things that he said. And I'll take it. You know, I'm just not going to expect him to be there when it's time to actually like non-comply, because he's not good at that. He's good at talking, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that the LP needs to do more than speak.
I think we have an opportunity, especially in Alabama, to connect with the Mises Caucus and the Mises Institute in Auburn, Alabama. I think they would be on board with this, and I've been reaching out to. They have new leadership down there, at least locally, to reach out to people. So that's one thing that would be pretty good to have the Mises Caucus and the Libertarian Party get involved in this as well.
Yeah, I know one of the libertarian groups in this state got invited, but the fact that you mentioned that their whole thing is based in Auburn is good, because we know somebody there.
Okay, good.
Maybe they can reach out and try and do something.
Yeah.
I mean, like, honestly, I'll probably just keep trying at this point, because what do I have to lose? But
yeah, exactly.
You don't lose any flat out energy for it. If you guys don't fucking send somebody out to do this with me, I'm not gonna pass out the flyers. I'm not gonna invite people. I'm not gonna do that until I see some fucking participation. Like, I have, since the George Floyd thing happened, had maybe a handful of individual libertarians show up to help me speak liberty. And shout out to Ricky Harrington, because fuck yeah, he actually was one of them. And it was, you know, like he worked, he did, you know, like he did the things that needed to be done. Even though he was running for a position, he wasn't afraid of what people would say seeing him out there. And I mad fucking respect for that shit. Mad fucking respect. But like, it seems like the LP is afraid of what the media will say so strongly that they won't come out. They won't press the message. They won't be the example of what they say they want. And like, it drives me fucking nuts. And yeah, at this point, I'm not gonna shill your shit until you come out there with me.
Yeah, if I may, I have a perfect antidote for this through my life experience, if I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as you know, Mike, others might know, is I actually used to be a communist when I was a kid, and I used to march with BAM, and I used to be a big eco-terrorist and everything. Been an activist my whole life.
We have a history. That's similar.
So
I wasn't a communist though.
Yeah, I was an awful Stalinist piece of shit, but that's the point. But the thing I always tell people is, like, people see Bernie Sanders and they don't understand how that happened, and I can provide context of how that happened, to where over my 8 years of activism, every environmental movement I showed up to, every event I showed up to, you know who had a tent there? The whatever, I think it's like the Socialist Party of America, or whatever his party is called. They were there and they had a booth. And it didn't matter what the event was about. Didn't matter if it was a tree being cut down or a police brutality thing. They had a booth there. And sometimes their booth got destroyed and they got stuff thrown at them and they were booed out. And other times they were welcomed and everything. And I watched over 8 years, they showed up to every single event. And they were on the ground at every single event, even if they weren't welcome. And 8 years later, Bernie Sanders is on the presidential candidate running on the American Socialist Party. That only happened, and he only got that popular because a bunch of people went and got beat up and had their property destroyed and got booed, but also got welcomed and talked to a lot of people at every single activist gathering in Detroit and in Lansing for 8 years straight. And they almost got someone, arguably would have gotten someone into the presidency if Clinton didn't fuck them over by doing that. That's what the LP needs to do. Show up to a Black Lives Matter event. If you get doxxed or jumped, how much do you care about liberty? Do it anyways. I did it. Fucking Mike's done it. 100 people have done it. We show up. We get booed and attacked some places, and we get
awkward, weird questions.
Right, and we get really,
yeah.
really positive experiences other times, and like even my Lansing, like the Lansing BLM representative, like even told me like you guys have done more to grow the Second Amendment cause in the POC community in Lansing than 20 years of boomers coming to the Capitol and screaming while open carrying. It's because we showed up. We just show up. We'll show up unarmed. We'll show up to food drives. We'll show up to like protests, whatever. We'll show up and we'll talk. And that's what the LP needs to do. They need to, the internet will never accomplish anything. You have to go and talk to people face to face.
Yeah. On that note, speaking of people who fucking have spoken alongside us and have done a lot for POC being armed, if you guys don't know who Maj Touré is or Black Guns Matter, please look that shit up. And honestly, we actually have an interview with him back in the day where he came in and spent he was supposed to spend 40 minutes, but he ended up staying an hour because it was good conversation, he said. So like, he's a busy dude. Like,
yeah, he traveled all the way to Michigan for our Unity Coalition to give a speech. He just appeared out of nowhere. Nobody even knew he was going to be there. He just showed up. He's like, "Hi, I'm Maj from Black Guns Matter. This is my speech," and then he left and immediately got on another plane.
I mean, I remember I think it was day 2 of the freaking George Floyd protests and stuff. He was in Tulsa in the afternoon, and in the evening when we checked back in with him, he was in freaking Minneapolis. And the very next day in the morning, he was out in the streets in the riot teaching a group of people around him about de-escalation and how to use guns safely and shit like that. It was beautiful.
And that's the thing I'm super proud of the left is like 2 years ago, they would always say like, oh, we have guns, we just don't show it. And then like a year ago, they started showing up with guns, but like they didn't know their kit. There was negligent discharges. They looked embarrassing, blah, blah, blah. That's over. They've got training. They've solid their kits out. Like there's a UPG, which like Mike, you know about.
There's left militias out there now that know what they're fucking doing.
They know what they're doing. And that's, I get in arguments with liberals all the time. Like, oh, you think it's just going to be a bunch of rednecks who oppose your gun control? Like, no, there's super queer POC, like militias in Portland.
Armed gays don't get bashed. Armed gays don't get bashed.
The working class must be armed to seize the means of production. Karl Marx himself, baby.
Yeah.
and arm the homeless.
Oh, damn right, arm our houseless folk.
And yeah, that's definitely a big thing that's been going on is they're getting geared up and they get it because they see what's going on. And a lot of people are just like, oh, LOL, armed Antifa. They don't know their ass from the elbow, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you should see some of these kids.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and what's impressive looking today, like I know that
armed are pretty terrifying if we got a good enough turnout. Like we fucking scared the Nazis off last weekend, and they were going to have another one this weekend, but they didn't come back. They knew we didn't like their top around here.
Yeah, and when he says Nazis, he means actual Nazis.
Oh, no.
There is a video of dudes actually. They're gonna clip that. Doing that thing, doing the salute and shit like that. This is not.
It was a very crisp Zeke Howe. There was no misinterpreting.
They're very few and far between. It's not everybody to the right of the left.
You know
and
what?
Nazis. It's not that.
What really, you know what? I have one thing to say though. If you're out there marching for one thing, and there's a dude standing next to you hailing Hitler, and you don't say something to him, you're tolerating. You are enabling, you are giving them your stage. And that is one, really stupid and bad for your fucking message. And two, you're supporting Nazis. Stop. Just stop.
No, yeah, because
we can't wait for other people to stand up and say something. Even if it's just one person, turn around and tell the dude to get the fuck out of your ranks.
Because that happened.
Flag, break it and throw it off the side. Let them see you do that. Because you need to save your own message, and it's not, and no one else is going to do it. You can't wait for someone else to do it anymore. People don't do that. You have to do it.
That's the two things that happened that kind of like helped with all of this is for one of the best ways I've had to approaching anti-fascist groups to work with us more is like, hey, the Boog operates in a lot of bubbles since we've been deleted off of social media. We don't know where the Nazi Boogs are.
Yeah,
So
we don't. And if we did, we would be fucking with them 24/7 because
So-
we hate that shit.
So instead of fighting with us, come to me and tell me,
And tell
like,
us
hey,
where they are.
these are these motherfuckers. They're throwing the N-word everywhere and they're attacking people. Are they with you? And we can be like, no, and then we can work together to get rid of them. That's actually how we got our local Antifa contact to be so cool with us. Is I literally walked up to him at the Unity Coalition and I'm like, hey, you might not like me, you might not disagree, but all I want you to do for me is if you see anyone marching around with Proud Boys and beating up BLM protesters or saying Nazi things, contact me. I'll let you know if they're with us, and you let me know who they are, and I will deal with them. And I did that for 6 months in Michigan, and we cleared all of those idiots out, and now me and them are best of friends, and we work together constantly. And that's why I tell everybody, like, let me know where these motherfuckers are. And if you have doxers or whatever the fuck, let's find out. And let's get rid of these motherfuckers. If they're actual Nazi motherfuckers, which there is a group of Boogs on Telegram that are like active Nazi motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I'm working with Rose City Antifa right now to fuck them over. So like,
Yeah, that just drives me nuts. Like, don't just sit there and yell about it and point fingers. Do something about it. And the best way to do something about it is to tell the people that they are making look bad where the fuck they are. So that we can, like, pay them a visit and allegedly pay them a visit.
right.
I mean,
There
you don't get to wear Hawaiian. You don't get to wear Hawaiian and also say that kind of shit.
Nope. I will rip that shirt off of you in front of fucking everybody, and you can shoot me while I do it. I don't give a fuck.
Like, we need more of us being willing to go out there and do the kind of shit you're doing and stuff like that, because like there are places where we just flat out have the worst reputation. Like, like Creep, where you're at, we do not have a good reputation, do we?
Yeah, definitely not.
And it's not because of boys, it's because of assholes showing up in Hawaiian shirts and then being racist sons of bitches and shit like that.
And that's my message to any Antifa people whatsoever. If you find these people, message me. I will fuck their dad.
Who are they? Yeah, we will all fuck their dad.
I will fuck their dad, and I'll film it and send it to them.
Yep.
Yeah. We only have like one guy that I know of that might be Boog because he sometimes shows up in a Hawaiian shirt. He's not armed, of course, because it's California, but it's like, we're not even sure if he's Boog. We think he might just be a guy who likes Hawaiian shirts. We're not sure.
It's in California. You literally could have some random idiot wander through with a Hawaiian shirt and have no idea what the fuck is going on.
California.
Yeah, it's California.
Like, I think the only states that we don't. I think the only state that we don't have people is Hawaii. Is Hawaii, hilariously enough?
I know Hawaii Boog. Actually, I know exactly one Hawaii Boog.
Yeah. So if you
and he hates his life.
Like, if you know people who are wearing our uniforms and they're saying shit like that, if you know how to get in touch with even one of us, we can pass it down the line to somebody in your state.
Yeah.
Like,
we will find the right people and get you in contact with them or get that stuff to them.
And that goes both ways too, because not only did working with Michigan Antifa did we find fucking scumbags flying Hawaiian and get rid of them, but we also helped them find an undercover cop who was showing up to BLM protests dressed as Antifa and fucking trying to start fights and trying to fight people. And
I keep trying to tell people that's happening and they don't believe me.
I take a picture of this motherfucker and I'm like, hey, is this guy with you? And Detroit Will Breathe, which is the Detroit BLM organization, and Lance and Antifa are like, we don't know who the fuck that is at all. We've never seen him before. Let us know who he is and we'll deal with it. And no shit, fucking he gets dealt with, and then one of his friends, which is another guy who he's not an undercover cop at all, he's just a regular Antifa dude, but the local community hates him because he goes around and starts fights and causes problems and destroys random shit and gets them bad names. I watched in real time Antifa jump him at an event for causing them problems and beat the hell out of them and tell them that they're never welcome at his event, at their events ever again, and that he's a cowboy and he causes violence, and to fuck off. The media has no idea this is going on. This is alien concepts that like this is happening. And that only happened because we talked to each other, because they weren't aware of the bullshit he was pulling. We didn't even know who he was. The average conservative probably thinks that, you know, Creep and him are the same people. When in reality, this is just some random douchebag that's showing up and taking Instagram photos to get laid and starting fights.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm always like, how do they know these people are Antifa? They're not even, I mean, like, they're not labeled. It's really bad, especially in the right wing, not just the regular media, but their citizen journalists and stuff. They will just see somebody doing something negative and be like, look, it's Antifa. And I'm just like, okay, look, how do you know? And that just makes people so mad. They're like, oh, you're on their side. And I'm like, no, I just want to know how you know they're Antifa. Just answer the question, please, because I need to know I want to know if they actually are or not. And how am I supposed to know if you can't fucking cite your sources?
Right.
Like, how did you find out?
That's why I've been using the term, and I'm assuming I coined it. If I didn't, someone else can take ownership for it. But I say AFA, which is just anti-fascist activists. There's Antifa, and then there's AFA, because there's actual Antifa groups. They're organized. They're in Signal. They communicate every day. They show up. That's Antifa.
Yeah, but they're not organized together.
Right. And then there's the random idiot that shows up at a protest with a red and black, anarcho-socialist, whatever.
The edgy teen,
right.
The 4chan teen.
Right. He's just an AFA. Like, he's not part of an organization. He doesn't speak for anyone else. He's just an anti-fascist activist. They're two separate things. And people will see an AFA doing something stupid and then blame the local Antifa organization for it. And it's like, that's not... Yeah. If you talk to these people, that's not how this shit works at all.
Black bloc is an excellent technique that I believe everybody pretty much takes part in one way or another.
The Proud Boys were like, let's do this.
Yeah, it also is problematic because if you're doing black bloc, anyone can do black bloc and look like you.
Yeah. Same with our Hawaiian shirts, like any idiot can wear a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, any idiot can go in black bloc and then put a Hawaiian shirt on top of it. I mean, like, it's easy to do, and so like that's a problem with using black bloc. But honestly, I don't think we should discourage it still, because it's very useful and it's been used throughout history by multiple types of groups, and I think that it will be for a long time to come. Like, we did an episode about what black bloc was, because like people are out there talking like black bloc is a group or something, and I'm like, no, black bloc is a technique. It's a protesting technique that people use and have used for a long time, and it's never been just one group's technique either. We lost somebody.
He's on. And they'll assume the intentions of people wearing black bloc. That too.
Our conversations blending beautifully into the next topic.
Like, we're having all these. We have touched on all the topics that are listed except for the MLK stuff at this point. While we're talking, so like I wasn't like freaking out about how long the first segment is going, because
neither was I.
We're continuously bringing it up over and over again. So I don't mind this basically being the day after, and then like. I do want to talk about MLK some before we end this thing, and we have a thing to play like we do at the end of the episodes, because I really like doing that. And Creep sent me a video of one of his speeches, the last speech. So we're gonna play that at the end too. But this has been great. Like, we're basically having like an all come together, and I invited anybody who wanted to pop in and talk. And honestly, throughout this week, if any of you guys are around and you want to talk about what happened out there and y'all were there, please hit me up still. It doesn't have to be tonight. I will put you up there and we will talk. Also, I want to get Magnus here. I want to get Magnus here on later on this week to just talk about unity and everything else. Like, you guys all know that I love the unity idea. And I mean, like me and Tommy talked about it on an episode a little bit in the past, but I would like to talk about it more with more people, because just like the Boog, this is a broad idea and everybody has a different idea of what it should be like. And we're all anarchists and stuff like that. So there's gonna be many faces and ideas of what should and could happen. So like I would like to start being able to showcase that. So like if you guys out there are interested in like the liberty, like the unity movement, definitely freaking hit me up. And no, I don't mean leftist unity. I mean liberty unity.
Yes, bottom unity. Like I will.
Yeah.
If you are,
let's not say bottom unity.
Sure.
Let's just say
we're getting some BDSM going in here.
Yeah, let's just say libertarian unity.
I don't know if you saw, Mike, but bottom unity in a kinky sense kind of works. You were in the unity chat for a while. The Antifa thighs change a lot of people's opinions on.
Antifa thighs are saving lives.
Doesn't mean the rest of us do.
I'm amazed how much
we have other
has changed people's minds.
Well, speaking of which, you know, like we've got a few boot gals out there that are like shilling liberty on their asses, literally. You know,
I was in the Red Hoods calendar.
And some people, I want to get some of the Red Hoods to come on and have a Red Hood episode. That would be amazing.
I'll try to get a hold of Lily. Me and Lily, the founder, are like fucking tight as could be. I love Lily. I'll get a hold of her and try to get her on here.
Well, I think I do, and I'll reach out too, because like multi-prongs, they get noticed better, because like everybody's so busy and talking to so many people all the fucking time. You know, Liberty brought to you by the internet.
Yeah, I have the most jacked thumbs in all of fucking human history from the amount I'm on this phone. It drives me insane.
I refuse. I use the freaking swipe thing.
It don't help anymore though, because you're doing the swipe thing for like 12 hours straight. This muscle right here starts getting real firm.
I got me mine's in the wrist, because I got me one of those pins, the styluses. So like mine's all in the wrist, and then these fingers right here. Like I could kill an elephant with these fingers right here.
Yeah, that's why I started using voice messages, because I'm like, guys,
yes,
I'm gonna develop early onset fucking carpal tunnel from trying to keep up with like 300 group chats, and I'm like in the Antifa group chat and like 100 Boog chats, and then there's Twitter and VK and fuck.
Speaking of which, before we move on too much, do you want to give the story of what happened? Now that we've gotten in a little ways again, do you want to give the story of what happened out there yesterday in your area?
In Michigan. Okay, Michigan. So
I don't want to say y'all states until you say it, because I don't want to like assume.
Like I was doxxed, and they got my legal name that was changed when I was 11 years old. So like this is like, you know, many years out of date. The only people who should have access to that information are the government.
I feel that, because like the police are calling me and trying to stumble through my real name at me, and I'm like, it fucking threw me off, because people haven't used that name for me for like decades.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like I have a female name originally, and so like they called me expecting like some crazy white supremacist thing, I guess, because it threw them off when I told them, hey, I don't go by that, I'm trans and my name is this. And they're like, oh I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. And you know, like, what? Okay. You know, like, I think that it made it easier to talk to them, because like I immediately, within the first 30 seconds, busted something that they thought. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing with me when I tell people like I'm a lifelong environmental activist. I used to do like eco-terrorism bullshit. I'm queer. I'm mixed race. Like,
yeah. And there, honestly,
that flag's not
was
for
all
show,
the things they say. And I said that I ended up saying that to the press yesterday. I was like, if the Boog was all the things that people say it is, they wouldn't let me hang out. They wouldn't want anything to do with me or half of the people that are out here. Most of the people who are out here would not be able to be part of the group if it was all the things that you guys say it is. And it's crazy that, and you know, there's hypocrisy in it, because like they'll say like one side will say one thing and the other side will say the opposite, and I'm like, are you guys not noticing that they don't know?
In the same comment section, like on
Yeah.
all the videos of my speech, there's literally people like, this is a secret communist Antifa infiltrator trying to destroy America. Next comment below it, this is a white supremacist Trump supporter. And I'm like, are you reading each other's comments? Do you see what's going on?
All right. I only
It's
have
good, though.
14% left, so I'm
Oh
going.
no.
All right. Yeah,
Did you have
good to have
anything you
you,
wanted
man.
to say before you head out?
Before I go on my rant, go for it.
That was Magnus. That was a beautiful speech.
It was, from what I
Yeah,
saw.
it was a beautiful speech.
Why was I the only one who gave a speech?
I
You
know,
weren't.
like, yeah.
Why was I the only one who cared? Like the media cared that I gave a speech. Okay, I'll rephrase.
It's the beard, man. It's the beard.
Yeah.
It
It's the beard.
happens, you know. People
That
are
beard is
like,
attention grabbing.
You know,
people are like,
according to
why
the-
was
according to the
Gunn the one
QAnon
that they
people-
focused on? You know, it's just whatever they grab. We don't know what's gonna get grabbed, so we just dangle everything in front of them.
According to the QAnon people, my beard is fake, and I look like the miner from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So that was the thing that was legitimately posted on a QAnon page. Is that-
Whistle while we work, huh?
Hey, you know what? That's a luxurious beard, and one day I hope to have a badass beard like that.
It's my Muslim genes. It helps.
I
me
have to
with my
have
beard.
I have to have the patience though, because once I get to a certain level of fluffy, I'm like, oh hell no.
Vitamin E oil and beard conditioner. It's never itchy. It's super soft. It feels great.
I hear that
this is a
you
weird. I'm not.
Weird segue.
This is a weird segue.
Anyway, so what?
Beard maintenance.
Okay, Lapland. I didn't mean to say. He's out. Never mind.
Oh well.
Oh shit. I would love to do some state episodes and just get the boys from each state to come in and talk at some point to talk about the different climates and stuff. That would be really cool.
Every state's different. But anyways, to what happened in Michigan?
Yes,
So,
what happened?
So we had our Unity Coalition people. So we had the BLM activists and the Antifa activists that showed up with us. They actually, the Lansing Antifa posted something about this being a white supremacist rally, and our Unity Coalition contacted them and like, hey, you guys know me. I've been with you for 6 years. These guys are cool. And they removed that post. So that was like the precursor to this. I'm like, great, that's already a victory. So we
Nice.
show up to Lansing. We park in this underground parking garage. We all get together. We have our BLM people, our Antifa people, our 10 boogs, and we walk out from this underground parking structure, and we just hear helicopters.
Oh god.
And we walk up this flight of stairs, and the moment we hit street level, I swear to fucking God, this military helicopter goes like, boom, and immediately just yokes and starts flying right above us. As we're walking up to the Capitol building. So I'm like, this is great. And I walk
How
up.
dramatic.
And I walk up, and there's I think there was altogether 10 National Guard Humvees. There was about 50 National Guard, horse cops, bicycle cops, riot police, snipers on the fucking roof. And I'm like,
Good lord.
holy fuck. So like we're walking up, and I got, Bethany, who's my, really, I love her to fucking death. She's great, Antifa activist. She's got her fuck Trump hoodie on, which you've probably seen in the pictures. She got a Nerf gun.
Yeah.
Which
saw that.
I love the Nerf guns. Everyone's like, oh, they're making fun of the Second Amendment. I'm like, no, that's great. I love it. It's the
Yeah,
funniest
bring
shit
your
I've
Nerf
ever
guns.
fucking
Who
seen.
cares?
That's the funniest shit I've ever seen. I'm so happy for it. We start walking up, and we walk past the National Guard. We walk past them, whatever. We walk through the interior fence, and then the media notices us, and they just around us. And that was the point I started yelling at them, like, guys, like we're gonna trip over you and accidentally shoot somebody. Like, back up. So like we walk up, we get everything together, and we start talking like, okay, what are we gonna do? And all these media people are walking up like, can I give an interview? And I'm like, I'm gonna give it. I have a speech planned. I have a statement planned. We're gonna give the statement, and then we're gonna leave. Because I didn't want my people there any longer than we had to be, because there was a bunch of Trump supporters there, and apparently already a fight had happened between Trump supporters. So I was like, I don't want us blamed, because if one bad thing happens in Lansing, then every other person here is getting blamed for it across the
Yeah,
entire.
that's what I was worried about too.
So I'm like, okay, like we hung out for like 5 minutes. I met with everybody, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give my speech. So I'm freaking the fuck out this entire time. I'll let you guys know that this is the very first speech I've ever written and the very first speech I've ever given.
I remember my first time.
I've never given a presentation to a class in high school. I've never given a political speech. I've never like had to give a presentation at work. So I'm so shy. I'm freaking out. It's cold as a witch's tit. And I'm like, I have to do this because I'm like, I prepared this speech because the only thing special about me that I think is I have a way with words, and I can word things in a way. So I'm like, I'll try to do this, and hopefully I'm not the only idiot that gives a speech.
Right.
And I walk up and I stand alongside the fence, and the media just goes like around us. And
Oh God.
I wish I could have like a GoPro on my helmet of literally like I was facing probably 15 people deep all around me, just cameras and boom mics.
Jesus.
And I'm like, fuck.
it put you on the spot there.
I'm like, fuck. And I look over their head.
Even I would find that a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I look over their head, and on the building, like the building across of us is the National Guard sniper team that is literally looking
Oh
down at the scope,
jeez.
like right at me. By the way, I didn't have time, but I wanted to make a sign that said "Ooh woo, sniper senpai, what are you looking at?" I didn't get time to make it, but so I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I give the speech, and I'm like, a lot of what I said was like, I've posted the full speech before. I can send you the full speech as well, Mike. Of a lot of it I cut out or added parts in the moment. At the very end, when I say cracks in my voice, I added that on the fly because I was freaking out and I was cracking my voice and I was fucking my speech up because it was scary. And so I did my speech, and then I walked off, and, you know, as many other people pointed out, I gave a 5-minute long speech. And the first thing anyone says after I'm done giving my speech is, "What do you mean?" Like, that's what the 5-minute speech was for.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like, I go on this long tirade.
What do you mean?
I go on this long tirade about how like BLM and Antifa and Boogaloo and right-wing militias have nothing, like we have so much more in common than we realize, and the establishment and the uniparty and the warmongers and the tech giants that are censoring all of us, they're the real threat, and how the average American that doesn't watch the news and doesn't know what is going on is getting more irrational and committing more random acts of violence. And those, all we can do to stop that is to come together and be like, hey, we're not going to do this. And people cut the very end of that speech of me saying the American people are about to become really irrational. And like I said, like, it's not the people here. We're not going to participate in your civil war. We're going to fuck off. Like, it's Karen at the grocery store that's punching people over toilet paper. That's who I'm talking about. The American people are going to become irrational. This isn't a warning from me to you. This is a warning on your behalf.
Yeah. Like, I have seen actual, like, normal suburban women get crazy and try to hit people with their cars and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's irrational.
And I was telling these CNN reporters, like, look what happened at Atlanta. They sieged the CNN Capitol. They were going to break in and probably beat to death every fucking reporter there. And that was a Black Lives Matter rally. Like, that's what I mean when people are going to get irrational, is the average American citizen that isn't very politically aligned and doesn't understand what's going on. They don't really watch the news. They're getting freaky, and they're doing freaky things. People are getting the fist fights over masks. People are pulling guns at each other at grocery stores. Like, things are getting weird.
Or gyms.
It is.
Right, or
like, there's a gym in Minnesota to where a non-member pulled out a gun on several members in the gym and the gym owner because they weren't wearing masks.
Well, and
people are getting weird. People are getting really fucking weird right now, and that's why I'm telling them, like, hey.
And the media is encouraging it.
Yeah.
They love it. They want nothing more. Like,
that's how they get their ratings. That's how they get their monies.
An American Civil War, red versus blue, would be the best thing in the world for them. But they don't realize at the same time that they would be eaten alive. And we saw that in Atlanta. Like, people forget that the CNN headquarters, like, you had CNN reporters standing at the top of the stairs, freaking out just exactly like the Capitol, what happened in DC, freaking out because they had hundreds of Black Lives Matter protesters, like, sieging their building. and they're like, oh my God, why are they here? Why are they attacking us? And it's like, because they fucking hate you.
Yeah.
BLM and Antifa.
Nobody that's an actual leftist likes CNN.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
you don't understand what's going on. You don't understand what you're pushing. And that's why I'm warning you, like, these people will eat you alive. They will kill you in your home. Not us. We're not going to do that. Like, I have no intention to commit any offensive act of anything. A lot of Antifa people have no intention to commit offensive acts. We're going to stand back. What's going to happen is random fucking motherfucker that goes to the bar every once in a while is going to storm the United States Capitol, which is what we saw.
Yeah.
And the media misrepresented that.
It.
And the media misrepresented that of like, oh, like if I don't get my way, I'm going to get violent. Like, no, I'm going to leave and I'm going to watch this happen. And I'm going to be very sad while it happens. And I don't want it to happen. And then
Did you feel like the media was trying to get you to say something radical so they could soundbite it?
oh yeah, they were desperate.
I heard that from a lot of people.
They were desperate. They're like, do you intend, why do you bring firearms? Do you intend to use them? And I'm like, no. And they're like, would you use them if somebody attacks you? And I'm like, probably not. Because there's 1 million National Guards around. So it's like,
well, yeah.
I'm not going to get my brains blowed out. Like,
the local authorities were like, if somebody attacks you guys or tries to hurt anybody, just yell at us and we'll stop it.
Yeah. Because,
I mean, I don't feel that that's the way. Personally, I gotta add on here. I fucking hate it when they say shit like that. Because what am I supposed to do? Just sit here and let them fucking punch me till your freaking overweight ass gets here?
That's what I told the BLM Lansing person. It kind of changed their mind of like, oh, why are you showing up with rifles? I'm like, I had neo-Nazis and bikers and people from the Grand Rapids, whatever. Or I wasn't sure if it was Grand Rapids. I gotta be specific. I don't know where they're from, but Antifa activists show up to my house, and I had people follow me around, and I had people attack me at protests, and the cops watched. They watched. They didn't do anything about it. While I had actual like neo-Nazi motherfuckers threatening my life and calling me a faggot and everything like that because of my pride flag.
Oof.
And the cops watched and they didn't do anything about it. And I told this lady I would shower with this rifle if I could, because the police did nothing about it. She's like, oh, you kind of got a point. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, like where I am, like the nearest police station is like almost 20 minutes away from here. So like, what am I supposed to do? Ask the dude, like, I mean, I hate to repeat myself again and again, but like, what am I supposed to do? Ask the dude to wait for the police to show up? That's just not practical.
And that's why I open carry at events.
One of the things that I like to use Nextdoor for is because like you get all these people posting, I was afraid for my life because this person was looking at my window posts and shit, right? And I'm like, see, you know, like everyone's like, you should have called the cops, and they're like, I did, but they didn't show up until like this much longer. And I'm like, see, that's why you need a firearm. It's fucking legal here. Get yourself a firearm, go to the range, take a freaking lesson or two, you know, hit up people in your area, like reach out to the militias and ask them to teach you how to use a gun. They will.
Yeah. That's what Mike Dunn is the best for, is like that's what I'll give him appreciation forever, is every single time he goes live in his hometown with the Virginia Knights militia that he runs or whatever, he has POC that he is teaching how to use guns.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are doing that. Mad props to you forever for doing that. I have a lot of beef with that man, but I am always very honest about if my worst enemy does something good, I will congratulate them upon it. And Mike Dunn's far from my worst enemy, so everything good that he does, I will congratulate him upon it.
It is something that I like to see, and I would like to see more. But also, like, here we have like the more left militias offering, they're like, come out, we'll teach you how to do stuff too. I mean, like, it's not just reaching out to like book boys or like threepers or anything like that. You can reach out to the left now, because like you said, like, was it you that said that? They know what they're doing now.
Yeah. They're not there. I mean, obviously a lot of them have a long way to go because it's kind of still new to a lot of them, but the meme of like, oh, the armed left is a joke. I mean, some, yeah, but it's increasingly not
NFAC.
the case. It's increasingly not the case. These people are figuring
Yeah.
it out. They're getting training. They're getting educated. They're getting good gear and good rifles, and they know how to use them, and they're using them appropriately and responsibly.
Instead of the
Well, yeah, and you
NFAC
also have-
coalition.
Instead
Yeah.
of negligently
Yeah.
firing at civilians.
Yeah, exactly.
And you gotta know that anytime one of the groups does something stupid or bad, the media is going to put that on there and show it because it gives them clicks. They're not gonna show all the good shit and the lazy, they're lazy about it. They're not gonna show the normal stuff. They're
And that's-
only gonna show the incendiary things.
And that's the thing is like I'm in contact with a Alabama Black Panthers kind of group, and after NFAC had their negligent discharge, they put all of their people through training, and now they are rock fucking solid. So it's like people are learning from these mistakes when they get made fun of. They're correcting these mistakes, and they are getting just as good as any 3%er or Boogaloo militia, and they are going to get there probably more rapidly than we do, just from the fact of being like, more of the bottom left, to where they're more mentally and personality wise towards collectivism and working together. They're going to figure that out faster than a bunch of individualists that scream at each other all the time. And they are growing rapidly, and I love to see it.
I do too. I hate that we're such a gaggle of cats with a blow dryer behind us, but
But at the same time,
I love it too.
It's the best because we're real. We're not a bunch of sheep because we scream at each other all the time.
Right? Like, I was really proud of the Arkansas boys, and I cannot say this enough because, like, I felt like they were doing it on purpose. Like, they were intentionally spreading out to ask us all questions. I felt like they were trying to get one of us to not be consistent. And we all said it in our own way.
They always look for the one idiot.
Yeah, well, we don't have an idiot here. And I was really proud of that. And everybody was saying it in their own way, but we all basically said the same stuff. And I don't think they knew how to handle that, because I think they came out there specifically looking for us to say some crazy shit. And honestly, I think that we kind of feed into that too because of like our weird meme culture. We do say some crazy shit online, and I think that they were expecting us to get spicy.
We have some proper dank and spicy memes, though, to be honest.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
because I was on a podcast right before this, and they asked me like, "Hey, how do you reach out to Antifa groups and everything like that?" And a lot of it is language and memes. Like if you can speak the language, if you know the lingo, if you know how to conduct yourself verbally, that does way more than you would
personally
fucking
think
expect.
That was one of our issues at the beginning, because like everybody has their own lingo and everybody has their own language, and they've all studied different things, and they come at it from like one meme can mean 50,000 things because everybody looks at it and sees something different. And so like I think that at the beginning of people trying to get people together, and still now, like I fucking, as a Black Flag, I find myself like standing in between ANCOMs and ANCAPs being like, look, y'all, I need to lay this out for you guys.
I'm an anti-helicopter ANCAP, and I fight with ANCAPs more than I do
Fuck
ANCOMs.
Yes. Fuck yes.
You're not a real ANCAP unless you think of everybody besides you as a communist.
Right. It's because I was raised nearby to a pagan, queer, anarcho-communist fucking commune. And I tell
that sounds like a good time.
It was great. We danced around the maypole. We worshiped fairies. It was great. And I tell these people all the time, like, dude, like 50 hippies in the woods doing commie shit is not infringing upon your rights.
No,
it's not infringing upon your rights. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and honestly, if we leave, if the norm, like the people who don't want a commune, if we just follow what we believe and leave them the fuck alone, it doesn't matter, because they're not gonna like stop their awesome fucking hippie commune shit to come over to wherever the fuck you are and bother you.
Yeah, they're
Like,
anti-expansionists.
unless you're doing something really heinous, like unless you're doing something really heinous, like if you're out there putting Nazi flags everywhere and chasing people around and stuff, yeah, sure, they might notice that and they might be like, fuck no, let's go help those people. But if you're not causing that kind of thing and breaking your own kind of fucking ideological rules, I just can't see it. I can't see it happening. It doesn't make sense.
That's it. I like fuck tankies. I run into a million tankies all the day. Yeah,
it causes a lot of problems.
AFCOMs can blow me from both ends. I don't give a fuck. But people don't understand that there's people in these movements that the only reason they're there is because they're being infringed upon. And I even like got into it a little bit with I won't name them just for the sake of not causing problems, but some more centrist people that are like, herder, Antifa, always bad. Because we had a whole thing in Grand Rapids where Antifa was fighting cops. And they looked and they're like, oh, look at these violent. Right. They're like, oh, look at these violent Antifa. They're fighting cops. And I'm like, do you know why they were fighting cops? It's because they closed down. Yeah, it's because they closed down a homeless shelter because of COVID and kicked all the homeless people out. So they went and made a tent community, the homeless people. And then the city came in and was like, hey, we'll let you back into the homeless shelter, but we have to dismantle the tent community. And the homeless people are like, okay. Then they came in and bulldozed the tent community and didn't let them in the homeless shelter.
Wow.
And then Antifa rioted. And without knowing that background, you're like, oh, look at all these violent communist George Soros funded people. And then I tell them,
I would have gone out there with them if they did that in a place like this. If they did that, I'd have been like, fuck y'all. I'm going out there and do shit.
God, Michigan part of that party. It sounds like I missed a fun time. Shit.
Right. We had Michigan Boogaloo with them, and we were criticized for it. And we're like, guys, you don't understand. They essentially told the homeless community to get fucked because of COVID.
Yeah, fuck a bunch of
damn
them.
Right. I'll march with those fucking people.
I'm over here screaming, "Arm the homeless" with Max and stuff like that, and people are like confused. You know,
exactly.
There's no reason why we wouldn't be out there for shit like that.
Because that's horrible. That's fucked up. I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care
tyranny.
If you're a liberal. That's fucked up.
It's flat out tyranny.
You would kick people out of their house and then destroy their new house, promising them another house, and then laugh in their face. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's bull.
Like, no.
Oh my God.
And there's so many events like that happen with Boogaloo and right-wing militias where not knowing what's going on locally, and they blow it up nationally. And they're like, oh, look at what's going on. And then you look in locally and you're like, oh, this crazy racist law got passed, or this crazy like anti-Second Amendment like thing happened that you don't know nationally. The Tim Pools and the Tucker Carlsons don't understand because they're not from that area. But the people in the area are like, oh my God, our local politician just went full fucking psycho and just did a bunch of tyrannical shit. And that's why we're out here. But that doesn't hit the news. They only see the riots and the protests. They don't understand why people are actually out there.
I got to segue because I know that Tim Pool knows better. Like, he used to be one of my big influences and why I want to gather the stories
we talked about
and put it out there. And that motherfucker knows better. Like, I believe that the day they came to his house and he spiraled, he never fucking really recovered from it. I don't think he's chilling like Andy Ngo is. Which also breaks my heart because like I have a lot of people out there I'm losing my influences. At this point, Luke Wachowski, I think I said that right. I probably didn't. Is the only one left. Yeah, he's the only one left.
Dude, Alex Jones
hasn't gone shit.
Alex Jones becoming a fucking Trump shill was the most breaking fucking heart thing ever because like I learned about police infiltration and false flags and like all that shit and people pretending to be protesters when they were really cops. I learned that from Alex Jones.
Yeah.
So like the fact that he's now a Trump shill.
Jake's cool too, Max. I like Jake too.
Yeah. Luke and Michael Malice are probably the only people online that have like there's probably Other
There's
people.
other
yeah,
people in
yeah,
that
Michael
realm. There's
Malice, yeah.
the Conscious Resistance. There's
Oh, yes.
World Alternative Media.
Derek Bros with the
Yeah,
conscious
Derek Bros.
resistance.
That's another good one. I would suggest Tim Pool is basically only as he was before that show up at his house. He was really unsure what to do after the 2016 election. So you
Yeah,
saw
he
him
jerked.
slide into, well, I don't know what to do because my standard politics has been ruined.
Ruined.
And so the way he's coping with that is just
I keep hoping that he'll get back up on the bike.
well,
and
in
go
order for that
forward.
to happen, Dave Smith was on the Tim Cast show. I think that's a perfect example for him to wake up and say, "Hey, maybe I'm too far gone, or maybe I'm not that too far gone yet." If I have Dave Smith on there.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's perfect. Like when I think you were around for some of this. Like at the very beginning of the year, I had been basically and a little bit prior to that, I had been like highly alienated by the left because of all the identitarian shit, and I had been like literally attacked by them so much that I was like, "Fuck you guys! It's easier to talk to the right." And I ended up actually knee-jerking further to the right than I wanted to go. I corrected myself and went back into my Black Flag roots and shit. But honestly, like, I still see things to this day that I said and I went, oh my God. Like, I was in a panic, clearly, because that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't fucking fit what I believe, but it's out there now. And so, like, if you guys find that shit and it's older than like older than the beginning of last year, I said some fucking shit that I'm not proud of saying because it doesn't make sense, and it's very clear that I was having an emotional reaction and letting that drive me.
Well, yeah,
I looked
agree on
up
the
one
same
day
thing.
and realized I was surrounded by like fucking Hoppians and goddamn Nazis and shit, and I was like, how did this fucking happen?
Hoppians!
Because like anytime I would say something that fit, that they could, like they were using the shit I was saying, because like I would say something that would be soundbiteable that fit their shit, and they'd be like, even the trans people say this, even look at this LGBT based motherfucker saying some shit, and I looked down and I was like, oh my God, oh my, no like, no. Oh Jesus! Like I can't. I couldn't. I had to fix. Like I had to go back and say things about things that I had said in the past, and to this day, like when I come across things that I have been polarized about, I'm like, now, in the past, I've said this, and I don't want to fucking say it again because it doesn't make any sense. But I'm gonna say that I was freaking out, and I said this.
Thankfully for me, all of my social media everywhere, including my PayPal and Uber Eats, has been deleted, so nobody can go back and cancel me on anything. But
see, that made me laugh because the press at one point, they looked at us, all of us, and went, so do you guys have any social media we can find you at? And everyone in unison threw their heads back and started laughing.
That's what I said in Lansing. They're like, do you have any social media presence? And I'm like, dude, I'm not even allowed to order Uber Eats. Like,
I think I may have the largest social media presence here right now because I still have we still have this. We still have our Twitter. They have locked us down several times on Twitter.
Yeah, see, you're not as spicy as I am, to where like I was like.
Well, I try to keep it like on my personal account. You'll notice I get more spicy, but like on MLTP, I keep it a little bit chill because like there are normies and the Liberty Curious that will come on there, and I don't want to scare them away. I don't want to get crazy spicy and have them like there was a meme I posted. I was like, all right, I'm gonna post this meme, hope I don't get banned, and it's literally about killing Nazis.
Well, that was the thing with me, is like I was like tagging like Duncan Lemps, that police department on Facebook, telling them that are going to come to their house and fuck their dad. So like that's why I didn't survive, because I was like tagging police officers being like, you're a fucking traitor, fucking blow me. I'm gonna take your daughter on a nice date and she's gonna be the biggest fan of me, and I'm gonna fucking laugh and make her hate cops. that was my Facebook. That's why I didn't last. And then my new Twitter that I only made because I saw that my speech was going viral is currently suspended because I called someone a homophobic cunt. So
yeah. I can't understand why they look at the shit that we say and then they're like, well, they're far right or far left, and we're like, what? Thanks, lady, for noticing. Like, we've got 420 subscribers right now, so smoke them if you got them, boys. That's not gonna keep following us. Don't leave it there. But like, I'm super excited that I woke up this morning and saw that. I was like, what? Hell yeah!
Isn't that Earth Day too? 420.
Yeah, Earth Day, 420.
Yeah, Earth Day. I know all about that. I've been arrested on many Earth days.
Many Earth days. Well, they know it's the honeypot, I guess. But yeah, no, like they took out our Facebook hard. Like everyone who was staff on the Facebook page for MLTP, they banned everyone, including the dude who had never posted before. Like, he literally just sat there and watched shit. That was his job, to be there and be a backup admin in case something happened to one of our private accounts. Like, we didn't, one of our side accounts, you know, we didn't realize that they were going to reach in and fucking nab everybody in there, because it didn't make sense that they would take him out because he never posts.
That happened to me. Like, for those that don't know, like, I'm an artist. My living used to be 3D printing and painting like comic books and D&D stuff. And I used to.
Oh man, that's cool.
And I before lockdown, I used to travel around and go to like the little vendor booths and everything and sell stuff. And then lockdown killed that. And then when the social media purge happened, they took down my business PayPal and they took down my Instagram, which has never posted anything political ever. Like, it's just pictures. It's just pictures of D&D miniatures and like comic book statues and like, you know, Spider-Man and Deadpool and everything that I used to paint and sell to people. They took that down. So like, I'm fucked. Like, I've been living off of ramen noodles and fucking bullshit for a long time because they just nuked my business, and they nuked my business page. That was like, social media was the only thing that was keeping me. I didn't say anything political on there at all. I didn't even have it linked to my Facebook or my Twitter or anything. And Instagram was like gone. They took down my business PayPal. They, you know, canceled like my Cash App and everything. I still have probably a couple, you know, $100, if not up to $1,000 owed to me through these websites that I will never get. I have no idea
how we still have anything. We've got to be being watched. Like, we got a no stop order on us or some shit.
Well, I mean, Twitter used to be super friendly to us, and then Jack Dorsey decided to purge all of us like 3 days ago. So that was fun.
We lost like 40 to 50 followers all in one day, and I knew, because like a lot of times it goes down when they suspend somebody and stuff like that, but then it pops back up. It's been days and they have not popped back up, so I assumed that a lot of them were permanent. And like, the social media purges are really fucked right now, and they've got it set up to where the right thinks they're the only ones being purged, and the left thinks they're the only one being purged, and the anarchists are out here being like, first time.
Yeah, we were purged like 6 months fucking ago. I don't even remember what Facebook looked like.
They've been doing social media and purges all over the board on anarchists for like years now. Yeah. When it first started getting like really big after I had come back into the activist scene, because, you know, like, as you guys know, if you watch the show, there was a period in time where I was like, I'm fucking tired, and I grabbed my blanket and I rolled back over and went into a video game.
Same here. I took 4 years off.
Yeah, my community ended up actually being basically destroyed by Nazi hunts, and some of them were real Nazis. Like, I was the freaking chill dude that was like, wait, let's hear everybody out and see what the evidence is, because if there's no evidence, I'm not gonna freaking witch hunt somebody and shit. It was so funny because at one point, one of the actual Nazi groups reached out to me and they were like, we figured you would be the one that would listen to us. And I'm like, okay, so if you guys are, you know, like, go ahead and tell me what's going on. And they basically told me they were Nazis. And I was like, wait,
You
y'all
guys
are
are
actually
Nazis.
Nazis, and they were like, yeah, and I'm like, get out of here, fuck this shit.
That happened to me with a very, I won't name him because he's gone now, long and forgotten. We outed him, but he was a very prominent member in the Boog community, and finally, after getting to know him and talk to him for a very long time, he's like, hey, can you DM me? I want to ask you about something. He's like, do you know about the Jewish conspiracy? And I'm like,
Oh
Oh
god.
my god, not the
and
JQ.
I immediately just took his fucking ass and just blew him all over Facebook. I'm like, fuck this dude. and like, yeah, like that happens. You got a lot of closet, like real Nazis, like not fucking, Twitter clout chaser Nazis where someone said a fucking racial slur 37 years ago, like real Mein Kampf motherfuckers. And they come out. And that's kind of like what I've been doing in the community for a very long time. I worked with someone who's kind of there's drama with them, but me and her spent a long time just hunting Nazis. And we were being libertarians. Like when we call someone a Nazi, they're a fucking Nazi.
They're an actual Nazi.
Actual
We're not
fucking
like
Nazi.
re-identitarian everyone
Yeah.
but me as a Nazi. No, we mean actual Nazis.
They use the N-word like I use the word like.
Yeah. Like I did the same thing, but like with an opposite thing. Like if I found an actual Nazi that I thought was beyond saving, I would just keep walking because like there were so many of them out there around me that like after my knee jerk that like I was like I didn't have time to fucking out everybody. What I did was I sniped for those who looked like they were still worth saving and tried to Daryl Davis the fuck out of them.
Daryl Davis is a fucking hero, so I love that you mentioned
Superhero. I fucking love Daryl Davis.
He is the biggest dick energy of fucking our generation.
And for those of you who don't know who he is, you should totally look into him because that dude has balls the size of the fucking Empire State Building. Because like the very first time he went alone to be in the room with like I think it was a Grand Dragon.
Yeah,
and
fuck ton of
like,
clan. Fuck ton of clan.
He was alone in there, and he had asked to talk about the KKK, and they showed up, and they were so confused because he was a black man. But the dude has literally saved people. Like,
yeah, he has an entire wardrobe full of fucking clan robes that were given to him from people that left the clan. As a black man, as a black jazz musician. Like, fucking, hey.
There was one point where he was canceled by the left.
By the left, they called him a Nazi.
They called him a white nationalist.
Yeah, and Uncle Tom and stuff like that. That is so racist. You lefties who call black people Uncle Tom, y'all are fucking racist. You're racist. It's fucked up. Stop.
That word has gotten so fucking, like, calling someone Uncle Tom. Like the whole point of that in the beginning was people that were collaborators.
Yes.
And now that word has gotten to apply to anyone who just like, hey, like I'm actually like a socialist Democrat black man, but I'm actually going to try to like talk to Klans members and get them to quit the Klan. You Uncle Tom, like what the fuck?
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. And that kind of bullshit and that kind of bullshit rhetoric is the kind of shit that allowed Biden to say, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. And nobody called him
black
racist
enough.
And that's the kind of
ignored that.
That's the kind of people that hate us because they see us being like, we go to anti-lockdown protests, we go to Second Amendment protests, and we go to BLM protests. And those people saw us and they're like, oh, they're fucking up our hustle. There, we got a nice game going of like clout and attention, and we got a plan that we're going on. These white dudes with guns and Hawaiian shirts, they're causing problems. We need to get rid of them. They're challenging what we're trying to do. Those are the people that stepped out and talk shit. The actual BLM activists and the actual Antifa people were like, okay, I'll hear what you have to say. The people that felt threatened were like.
That can even be said for like the MAGA and stuff like that. I don't see any Proud Boys around here, and there is one group that's like super fundamentalist Christian, and they told me that we have demons in us and that we're like
satanic ghost in your blood
and stuff. But like the majority of people out there on the right, even like they're really welcoming. They even, knowing I'm an anarchist, let me have their mic and talk at a rally, and that was like exciting and nerve-wrackingly confusing. Like I was a little bit nervous because I was like, I started it out with, I'm not here for Trump, but they already knew that, but they knew I was gonna say some radical shit because they know I'm a radical dude. Like they're like, I don't really approve of this dude's idea of the police, but he's okay. Um, but they're out there for liberty too. They feel that they've been stepped on. Everybody is mad. And I'm continuously going out there looking around, thinking about the stuff I've heard the left and the right say and the different groups that go out to protest and shit. Because you get a right-leaning group out there protesting for one thing, it's going to be a different group protesting for the next thing. Like the anti-maskers and the Stop the Steal people, almost a completely different group. There was a little bit of fucking overflow, but almost completely different fucking groups.
If you saw some of the people at the protest January 6th and the rallies, most of those people that were for Trump were wearing masks.
Yeah.
They were not necessarily anti-maskers.
I have to bring this up. I had a conversation with the most enigma, like weirdest political belief person I've ever seen, which, Mike, that this is fucking weird. It was a half black ex-felon Green Party voter that loved Trump but voted Green Party. There's a video of me talking to this man. I'm like, you are fucking intriguing. Please tell me how you think, because he's all sitting there like, yeah, legalize marijuana and Second Amendment, but fuck BLM, but I voted Green Party. I'm like,
he might be an old school greenie, where old school greenies were like, against nuclear, save the whales, peace and love and people. And so he's probably I see what Trump is saying and I agree with him, but I'm not going to vote with him.
Right. But that goes to what I say is like people like politics is way more complicated than people fucking understand.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, it really is. Like you can't be like, this whole group is like this. It's not true. Even like, I know that like it's definitely untrue if you're talking about like Antifa or the Black Lives Matter movement or the Boog or anything like that. It's definitely very varied, but it's just as varied with like the Biden and Trump people and stuff like that and everything. Like those people are not black and white. None of them are. People are individuals, whether they believe in individuality or not.
That's what I say all the time, and that's why I preach to people. And when like Boog boys or 3%ers scream at me for working with Antifa, I'm like, I'm an individualist. I will treat individuals as individuals. As long as the core fundamental of their worldview isn't fucked up, like actual neo-Nazis or anything like that. As long as or black nationalists or whatever, as long as their like fundamental worldview isn't. My alarm's going off.
I hate that it happened this way, but one of the reasons why we ended up like not being a duo of hosts anymore is because like one of our members, the guy who was the host with me, he was like getting into this generalization mindset, and he would say things that were horribly generalized and giving people the wrong idea and shit. And I was like trying to correct him whenever he did it, and he was like, you got to stop all of this, not all this, not all that. And I'm like, no, I don't, because it's true, and I'm not gonna stop. I will never fucking stop. And that actually caused us to fall out, because they didn't want me fucking correcting people. They said I'm not gonna lie, it was ridiculous. Like they said I was being authoritarian by trying to teach people things.
No.
And I was like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, it's just
books
weird.
Are authoritarian. Books are for commies.
Yeah,
books are bad.
You can't judge any group, anybody by a group. Like, and I think that the people at the table here now are living fucking proof of that. And MLTP was always supposed to be like a unity group, and anyone could come. Like, there was a time when we had a fucking DimSock on our team.
Oh, I remember that person.
Yeah, remember?
Yeah, it's been a while.
She's still around, but she's not on the team because she doesn't have time. But she was a lovely girl. I fucking loved the hell out of her. I would go across the states right now to go visit her if she needed it. And like, we always tried to be as across the, like, we'll talk to anybody. Come on in. And so like, like we got to be careful not to get lazy and not to get tired and not to get angry and start saying that whole everyone is like this thing, because that's what they want. That's drinking the Kool-Aid, not drinking the LiberTEA.
So I kind of want to segue into something here real quick, guys.
Go ahead.
So we've been talking about how the media misperceives our movements and stuff, and how the
Hold on, wait. You're off camera. Like, lift it up a little bit.
Lift it up.
There you go.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Oh wait, a little bit too much. There you go. There you go. There you go. Do it.
So we're talking about how the media perceives our movements and puts their fucking spin on it. And something they also put their spin on, especially on this particular day, is Martin Luther King. And I have a statement written up about what Martin Luther King really fucking stood for. And I just wanna read it to you guys. As soon as
and it's appropriate given the day.
Yes, it is absolutely appropriate, and we cannot forget Martin Luther King, especially on this day. So, without further ado, MLK's legacy. Martin Luther King was not just fighting against racism, he fought against poverty and militarism as well. His last crusade was the Poor People's Campaign. The idea behind it was to bring poor people from all over the nation to Washington, D.C. in a massive protest so they could not be ignored by their politicians. He started by going to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, an organization he led, and proposed to expand their fight beyond just civil rights to include economic justice. Sorry, hold on.
You're fine.
Yeah, this was not just to be a typical peaceful protest calling for petty bourgeois reform. This was to be a mass act of civil disobedience while still retaining MLK's signature nonviolent principles. In short, it was to be a disruptive protest. The demands would not be vague either. They were as follows: $30 billion set aside to fight poverty, job guarantees, guaranteed income, and 500,000 units of low-income housing built every year. The response by the Johnson administration was to have 20,000 soldiers at the ready for what they perceived a violent takeover of the government.
Gee, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, that sounds fucking familiar. It goes on. One of the main adversaries of this movement, aside from nearly every politician in Washington, was the FBI's COINTELPRO, which was essentially a task force to infiltrate any and all leftist groups in the United States and destroy them from the inside.
That sounds familiar.
Yep, it's the reason why we don't have a lot of leftist groups anymore. Anyways, one of their main prerogatives was to destroy MLK's career. Their tactics include sowing rumors that MLK was a communist, which he was not. More likely, he was more of a democratic socialist slash social democrat. They made up rumors it was going bankrupt, told poor people they would lose their welfare benefits, and worked with a fascist and racist organization known as the John Birch Society.
This sounds familiar too.
Yeah. Martin Luther King's last days on earth were spent standing in solidarity with the sanitation workers in Memphis, Tennessee, who were calling for basic safety measures in the workplace. The police violently broke up their strike and killed a teenager by the name of Larry Payne. After that happened, he gave his famous mountaintop speech, where he said, "We've got some difficulties. We got some difficult days ahead, but it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop and I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place, but I'm not concerned about that now. I want to do God's will, and He's allowed me to go up to the mountain, and I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I am happy tonight. I am not worried about anything. I am not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. The day after he gave that speech, Martin Luther King stood on the balcony of a window while talking to Jesse Jackson, and he was shot, presumably by James Earl Ray. I say presumably because he at first confessed to his crime and then later recanted his confession, and it would be no surprise to anyone if the FBI were involved in the assassination, for they attempted to convince Martin Luther King to commit suicide on multiple occasions. The Poor People's Campaign movement was bloodied by this savage and heartless act, but they still fought on and tried to rally. An economic bill of rights was drawn up, which included employment at a living wage, income for those who are unable to find a job or perform a job, that all Americans should have access to land for economic use, access to economic capital so poor people could have the means to start a business, and finally, the ability for the average people to play a role in the decision making for the United States. God forbid. The campaign was led by Coretta Scott King, MLK's recently widowed wife. They occupied the National Mall for 6 weeks, building a makeshift town known as the Resurrection City. It was during these 6 weeks that the presidential candidate Robert Kennedy was assassinated. He was a vocal supporter for the Poor People's Campaign as well. It was then the local police evicted the camp using tear gas. In conclusion, I say to all the neoliberal bootlickers and the fascist conservatives who think they have any right to invoke Martin Luther King's name, take his name out of your goddamn mouths. You do not stand for the people he was killed fighting for. You do not stand for the working class. You do not stand for poor and houseless folk. You stand for greed and the violence conducted in the name of it. We take this moment now to say his name in defiance of you. Say his name! Martin Luther King!
Martin Luther King!
Say his name! Martin Luther King!
Martin Luther King!
Say his name! Martin Luther King!
Martin Luther King!
That is my statement.
That's what I posted on my Twitter because
I fucking love that shit.
The top line is like Martin Luther King died for. The bottom line is killed. Martin Luther King was killed for.
Yeah.
Be accurate. He did not die for shit. He was murdered.
He
by
was
the fucking
murdered.
feds, by the fucking
Yes.
local police. There was a 1999 trial where they unanimously through jury agreed that the local Memphis police and the FBI and the federal government had conspired to murder him. And that was
Yes.
proven in a court of law.
Yeah.
It was
This
the
is not a
feds. The
conspiracy.
feds fucking killed him.
And of course, you know, they never fucking got a chance to actually get they didn't get justice. And what really fucking kills me is all the good shit that they tried to bring out of all of this stuff. They then spent generations tainting, half-assing, and dismantling everything that they supposedly won. And people wonder why BLM is happening now, because it's bad. It's really fucking bad. And like, I think that it's stupid that people are pissed off that like white people are out there with them and shit like that. They're like, oh look, it's almost all white people. And I'm like, to be honest, like a lot of people don't even see it as just a black problem, and it's not. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
we're all fucking suffering, but until we, like, if we continue dividing ourselves up into our camps, like, the way that I saw it was, if we go out there and we help our brothers and sisters in humanity to come up, to get themselves up off the ground and at the same level as like, other people are, they can march beside us when we march together, when we turn on the things that have been hurting all of us. It's not in good proportion, and we need to fucking help those of us who are taking it harder on the fucking nose.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous that people are continuing to fall for the division, because that's the only thing that's stopping us. Like, imagine what, like, I keep saying it. I'm like, imagine what would happen if we were all out here yelling for our own reasons at the right fucking people. It would scare the shit out of them. And I believe that that's one of the reasons why they were actually scared about the 17th, because I think that they thought that if they didn't scare people away and they all came together and realized that their problem was with the same fucking people, that they would have had to deal with something like that. And so they used the fear and the threats and the fucking propaganda and the fucking conspiracy theories to come in and fucking sow havoc on the event that we all tried to work so hard together to bring people together to do just that. And they knew what it was for. Like, they told people that they talked to that they knew what it was for, and they still said the things that they said. This was an entire fucking psyop to keep us from being able to come together. And this is not the last fucking time that we're gonna fucking do it. Expect us, motherfuckers.
Yeah, because
Expect us.
the entire Wisconsin chapter didn't show out because they were worried they were going to get Kent State 2.0. That would have been another 30 people in Wisconsin. Michigan, we would have had another 50 fucking people there from all across it that would have been there. And you're right, this freaks out, and that's like my speech, whatever. My speech was good, bad. I don't really care. I think the real reason why it went viral. I think the real reason it went viral is because like all around me, like I had 10 Boogaloo boys, a 3%er, 2 BLM activists, and 2 local anti-fascist activists, and we were all standing along that fucking fence together.
Yeah, in this day and age, that's crazy.
No, that's mathematically impossible if you listen to the media.
In a lot of places,
impossible. And that's the best part is one of my boys through Twitter hit up a local BLM organizer, and she was initially very antagonistic with him, but he was very persistent and smart, and he worded it very properly. Guess what? They're fucking dating now. They're fucking in love. Like, that's what we're fighting for. That's what matters.
One of the people that came out to ours out here, they were not with us, but they had a collection of signs, and they spent like 2 hours out there just going through the different signs and holding them up and everything. And like, if you see the pictures in the media, you can actually catch them in the corner of a couple of them with their signs and stuff. And like, they saw the coverage, and they sent me this long email about how this was like, this was wrong. They could see what the media was doing. They could see how the propaganda against us and everything had worked, and they realized exactly how fucking bad it was when they tried to say that it was a right movement. And all of the slogans that they were holding up in those signs, they were left-leaning slogans and left-leaning problems oriented and shit like that. And it just, I hope that the people who did show up today and then saw that kind of fucking coverage realize, and whether they think they defeated us by making us small or not, they can like pretend and think that all they want. But the fact is, like, in print, in video, they have the machine of cognitive dissonance right there, and they are showing it to people. I think that we were so confusing that we actually got them to show their fucking true colors on accident. And we may not get that chance again, because next time they may know better.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll try to fucking psyop us out again. Maybe they'll take the risk.
To be fair, though,
they're going to demonize us now, and then when things move on or get better, and we're seen as if we're ever seen as the good guys, it's fucking tyrants are going to try to co-opt our name like they did fucking Martin Luther King. Like,
yeah,
they always want to fucking put their spin on it, and
they do.
It's just the biggest disgrace to his legacy that these fucking assholes on the Capitol Hill try to like put his name in their mouth and pretend they stand for what he stood for.
Oh yeah, no, not even a chance. Fuck those guys.
Yeah.
I would like to say, I am Malcolm X.
Malcolm gets the same treatment. A lot of dumb people run fucking Malcolm's mouth without understanding anything about what Malcolm was saying.
And I honestly, like, me and I3 were talking about it at the beginning. I was like, we should talk about MLK today. And he was like, I want a Malcolm X day. And I was like,
I want a Malcolm X day. I want more people to understand, the last few years of his life was a very anarchistic approach toward government. And I like some of what he wanted to do was to bring some Black unity, which never had occurred before. And I think two things destroyed that: the federal government, of course, and the death of Robert Kennedy Jr. and MLK, because destroying that helped the federal government have the Black man rely on the government way too much and not enough individual responsibility, which Malcolm X was very much for. He didn't really want white people to support him and join him. He wanted some unity first within his own group, because right now, at that time, there's a huge split in the Nation of Islam and his Muslim group. There was a huge split between conservative and liberal Blacks at that time. And he says, we need to focus on us. And how do we do that? What are the procedures for that? What's the steps? And I feel like there was a missed opportunity for that. And instead we got a movie, we got books, we got documentaries. He, in my opinion, was more, at least in my opinion, more principled toward the anarchistic approach that we sometimes forget when we celebrate MLK.
Absolutely, because he had that whole speech, and I rewatched it today, where he's like, "Who made you hate the color of your skin? Who made you hate the way you talk? Who made you hate your nose? Wasn't the white man. You decided to do that. You did that to yourself, and you need to stop doing that to yourself. You need to be proud of who you are.
Be proud to be Black.
The white man has no control over you. You decide whether you're embarrassed to be Black. You decide whether you're embarrassed to be gay. You decide that. And if you decide at that moment to stop being embarrassed, then you take control of yourself.
They beat you.
And LBJ was one of the most racist presidents of the 20th century.
People forget that so much.
Yeah.
People forget how much of a piece of shit LBJ was.
Literally,
Same with FDR. FDR was a racist.
FDR, another one. But it's just modern. I'm talking about after World War II.
Right. That's the thing with FDR is like the Democratic Party has buildings named after the only U.S. president to put an entire ethnicity of people in fucking camps.
In fucking camps.
Yeah. And it's just really.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It's just amazing that the left, especially parts of the left that accused Donald Trump of being racist. It's like, well, there's a potential racist
your underwear
that you're celebrating.
Too. Yeah, your underwear got stains too, homie.
I'm just saying,
well, that's, I'll say it. I've said it 100 times and I'll say it again. Congratulations. This time we voted between two rich, old, white racist motherfuckers.
Racist motherfuckers.
Oh, and of course, we have Cop Mala. Cop Mala wanted to arrest Black. She's Black. Okay, quotes.
Well, she wanted to be Indian at first. That's what she said originally.
She had a whole Indian fucking ceremony and everything, where like she had fucking shamalas and everything come out.
Who is more Indian?
Like, I'm
Elizabeth
Black.
Warren or Kamala Harris? Who's more Indian? Kamala Harris or Elizabeth Warren? I'm just saying.
I want to say, like I said, I'm part of a tribe. I grew up next to a reservation. I went to specialty Native American education that was only for people. I have my card. I have all that shit. Native Americans meme on Elizabeth Warren more than any fucking politician in the goddamn world.
And the truth is, you can be on the reservation.
We roll on that fucking bitch.
Yeah,
she is the
and the truth is,
fucking thing we've ever seen.
The truth is, you can be out on the reservation and shit and actually have as much as she does or less. But if you're part of the community, nobody fucking cares.
I want to say, like the most anarchist fucking place I've ever been is the Native American reservation.
Yeah,
they're a sovereign nation.
Like, if you want to call on that smidge of blood in your genetics that you have, and you haven't ever been there, and you haven't been part of the community, you haven't been part of the culture, they're gonna fucking call you out. They don't care how much blood you have if you're part of them. But she was clearly not part of them, because that's the most, like, between that and the pipeline thing, that's the most unity I have seen in the Native American people since
He
I've
really-
fucking been alive.
Hey, we
She
should
really
end,
fucking-
Magnus, we should end this. This is the BLM we should end. The Bureau of Land Management is the BLM we should end.
I gotta
Respect
fucking
the
tell a funny
treaty.
story about
I
that.
love Bundy. I'm the most biggest Bundy simp in the fucking world. I love how he literally got out in front of the entire country and he's like, you know what? I support motherfucking BLM. And all of his fans were like, "Ree, how could you support McCommies?" And he's like, "Well, fucking hate the feds, fuck the cops." Like, yeah, Bundy, go fuck you, cowboy motherfucker. I love you.
Well, I got a funny story about the Bureau of Land Management. Like I have Max, who used to be on the show, and he's still like around in the community and stuff. I watched him on fucking Twitter one night go, "Fuck BLM," and it's funny because like he's been out there covering BLM and all this stuff and everything, and he was like, "Fuck BLM," and then he followed it up immediately with they moved my fucking road or something, like closed my fucking road, or I hate the Bureau of Land Management. And people got mad at him and fucking blocked him because they didn't read the rest of the tweet.
The government's so
there
big.
was actually one woman who was so irrationally, or I think it was a female, the name was you know what, there was one human that was so fucking mad and wound up that I came over there and I made a tweet that said, "Well, you're dumb if you thought people were going to read the whole tweet, and the rest of y'all are dumb because you didn't fucking read the whole tweet." And that is literally me walking in and saying, "Y'all all fucking dumb, right?
Y'all ignorant. Y'all ignorant.
Yeah, like you knew this was going to happen, and the rest of you need to fucking read everything and stop looking like tools." And I literally said that, and this person was so angry at Max for what he had written that I guess they didn't read the whole fucking tweet either, because they fucking approved of what I fucking said.
Wow.
And I was like, "Don't you?" And I was like, they liked it, and I saw that that person liked it, and I followed it up with, "Dude, at so and so, don't fucking like this. It's about you too."
The government is so big that they don't even realize what BLM is. That's the gist of everything. We need to reduce government, because if not, we're going to confuse people on what these acronyms are.
Yeah. Well, they were like, nobody knows what Bureau of Land Management means. Nobody talks about that. And I was like, dude, the major following on these threads are libertarians, and I can guarantee you almost fucking all of them know what BLM means if it's used in that context. Like,
and real environmental organizations know, because a lot of like Bundy got a lot of cred with the environmental organizations, because the whole reason they tried to do that thing they did was to protect an endangered species of tortoise.
Well,
but then we found out that the fucking BLM, Bureau of Land Management, went on and was literally walking around with fucking spikes and killing those fucking tortoises in their property that they were supposed to protect, and goddamn wiped the species out and to protect them.
And I know that people know I know that they know what that means, because there are, I mean, like, there's not as many of them out there as some other fucking topics, but there are memes out there making fun of it. They'll be like BLM blah, and then Bureau of Land Management signs and stuff like that, you know.
And
if people do know. Saying that people don't know, it just means you don't know, and
you don't know.
Yeah. You're not aware of what's actually going on, which is a lot of people. They don't understand what's actually fucking going on in this country. They have no fucking idea of the complexity and the depth of shit that's happening. And it goes right to the fucking speech I gave of like, people view the Second Amendment rally in Virginia, the BLM riots all over the summer, and the storming of the Capitol as separate entities. When in reality, this is all the same thing going in the same direction. And they don't understand. They don't understand that, like, even going far back as Bundy, this is all one giant push by one group of people, and the media is trying to segregate us and chop us up into different pieces. No, this is all the same shit. We're all on the same fucking thing. Like, and they don't want to acknowledge that. They don't want to acknowledge that there's a populist uprising of left and right, of anarchists and libertarians, of Green Party. They're all coming together and being like, wow, this shit fucked, yo. Like,
it's the meme of the century with that.
And especially coming from me, because I used to be a tanky, and then I was a fucking, like, borderline fucking anarcho-primitivist, and then I became an ANCAP. So I've gone all the way down the political spectrum, and everybody is saying the same things, but they'll be like, oh, I agree with you on 90% of what you're saying, but I disagree on guns, or I disagree on economics, or I disagree on like whether or not bake the cake or whatever.
I disagree that people should be. I think people should be using technology more, not less.
It's a private company, so bake the fucking cake.
It's a private company.
Anarchism on the internet. The internet is the most anarchist thing that's ever been fucking invented.
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
It is the most anarchist space that's ever been formed.
Yeah, and I love this point that Max has made 1,000 times if he's made it once. It's from 1946 to 2011. If you said BLM, they wouldn't be thinking about the protests.
Yeah.
Like, that is brand new, and people have forgotten. Like, it's only been for, like a little while, and people have forgotten that there was a time before that, because, like, we're so, I don't know if we're uneducated or if we're just tired as, like, a society because they keep us running in the hamster wheels.
Yeah.
Or what?
A lot of shit has fallen down the memory hole. A lot of shit.
As soon as, like, that's one of the things I feel like an asshole when people are talking to me. They're like, hey, so, like, do you think we need to mention this because people should already know that? And I'm like, no. People don't know that. They don't know that. Say it again. Say it 15 times so they fucking remember.
Right. It's like they will not. The Obama simps. I go to war with fucking Obama.
Oh wow, they're still around too in the Biden administration.
I talked
Obama simps.
Yeah, I talked to
that just makes me want to scream Warhawk.
Exactly. Like, hey guys, you see this picture of John McCain and Obama's Secretary of State standing on stage with a open neo-Nazi in fucking Ukraine funding a coup? Yeah, that was the Obama administration. Here's this picture of John McCain in fucking Libya after they overthrew their fucking government, standing next to guys who are selling black people in open air markets for slavery because of Obama. Obama is the most anti-progressive fucking president I've ever seen in my life. Like, I cannot believe
you guys voted for him just because he was black, and I hate to say it, but that makes you racist.
Look, Bill Clinton was the most black president ever. I think Trump is taking over that mantle now.
What does that even mean? Oh, you mean black friendly? I have no idea. None of them. Honestly, I can't believe that any of them weren't racist at this point. Like,
oh yeah, they're a bunch of old fucking white dudes, dude. Like,
but they killed him.
Well, at least one white dude played the sax. You gotta give him credit for that.
If you get into the reins, if you get into the top part of our country and you're in charge of anything and you are not on the train for division and keeping the people separated, they will kill you.
Yeah. Because that was literally why I stopped becoming why I stopped being a Stalinist and discovered Ron Paul and became a libertarian.
Love you, man.
It's because I spent my entire life being a my entire political activist life from like 16 to 21, running around with these groups and being like, yeah, fuck war and fuck corporations and fuck these governments and these corporations that are destroying our environments and polluting our rivers and everything. And then Obama got elected. And I walked up to all of my anti-war and my everything friends that I've been marching with for years. And I'm like, hey, do you see that we're invading Libya? That's pretty fucked up. And they're like, oh, he's a totalitarian government. I was like, what do you mean? We're like, what do you mean? And they were like, and then like in Detroit, we had the whole Turn on the Water marches where like the Detroit government was going around and turning off poor people's water because they were late on their bills, but then letting like GM, the General Motors, have late bills, and the Red Wings and all these people have late bills, but they're turning off random people. So like I was fucked with multiple times going and turning back on water with stolen water keys for people's property and getting arrested and shit for that. And people like came out and they're like, we need Obama to save us. And I'm like, don't you know that he bombed a sovereign nation for like no reason? And they're like, he never did that. That was the conservatives that did that. And I'm like, all right, fuck this. Like, fuck this. I became politically homeless for 4 years, and then I discovered Ron Paul, and I was like, all right, cool.
We need Tim Pool to get toward that.
Once you start being outside of the two-party circus and you start paying attention to what's going on, you immediately realize that, like, you almost immediately realize that their game is to keep us separated and that they are literally playing like a game of tennis with our politics. Like they're together on it, they're both enjoying it, and they take turns. Like it's cyclical, y'all. They
That's why
fucking take turns.
I like put out a fatwa. I'm gonna pull my fucking Arab ancestry here. I'm putting out a fatwa for like the next 6 months. Do not trust any anti-Trump voter that suddenly is very interested in libertarianism.
Yes, indeed. That's yeah. It's us. It's us.
Because I've lived through this cycle 3 times. I lived under Bush, and then all of my liberal friends were super anti-state, and then the moment Obama got elected, they were suddenly
they were embracing the state,
democracy.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of my liberal people loved fucking Obama until Trump got elected, and then vice versa. All of my conservative, like I worked with a lot of 3%ers and militias that are like the government's illegitimate. Fuck the cops.
Well,
and then Trump
the
got
moment
elected,
their
and they're
side
like,
wins,
"Crack
they
the
ditch
blue."
Yeah, you're an old pair of pants the moment they fucking get their side winning, and it's an illusion. There are no fucking sides. Our government is not a duopoly; it is a monopoly on fucking government. It's a monopoly on violence. It is a monopoly on everything, every aspect of our fucking lives. They are raised together. They party together. They are schooled together, and then they fucking work together. And the truth is, the only thing that those motherfuckers up there at the top ever fucking agree on is fucking us.
That was part of my speech, like too. Like they spent 6 months debating on whether or not they could afford to give everyone $600. 24 hours to agree to give billion fucking dollars to corporations and foreign fucking We gave money to Syria. We've been trying to go to war with Syria my like entire adult life. And we gave them
money.
$200 million fucking dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we got to build our wall, man. We got to build our wall. We got to basically.
Oh shit!
There is a country I cannot say that we're building their wall and having a war against another population that I cannot say because of YouTube's terms.
Right. But see,
I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Let's just do that. Wait, I can't do that. Sorry, you didn't see that.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's the magical 4D chess. You don't understand the way we get
it's
Mexico.
5D chess now.
Right. 5D chess. The way we get Mexico to pay for the wall is for America to be so fucked up that Mexico builds their own wall.
Want a wall.
They don't want us.
Well, I mean, like at this point, a lot of people I know think that them offering asylum to Julian Assange was actually one of the only ways they figured they could hit us back.
By the way,
right
like
now,
I said,
like it's out of spite, and I'm like, I don't care if it's out of spite or not. Give it to him anyways, but that would be funny and it's believable.
I say, and I'll say this now. I'm not as critical of Trump as many people are, but I'm still not a fan of the guy. You will earn kudo points. You literally have 2 days. Pardon Julian Assange. Pardon Edward Snowden. Pardon Chelsea Manning. Pardon fucking Dread Roberts
Roberts.
And I will give respect to you. Do it now, and you will go out. To me, I'll be like, yeah, he's kind of a fuck up, but he did these good things. This is your last chance.
He's a cool F up.
You got 2 fucking days to do it. You're running out of time. Like, you pardoned a bunch of Blackwater motherfuckers, and that's gross as fuck to me. But this is your last chance, Trump. Do it now. You got it. You got the fucking pen. Pardon them.
It doesn't
or
take much.
blow me. If you don't pardon them, then you go down. You go from a 4 out of 10 to a fucking 2 out of 10 to me immediately. You got 2 days.
Will Trump do it? That is the next question on the next episode of Spilling the LiberTEA.
Yeah, when we come together, we will know. So, and I hate to cut this off because this is such a good conversation and we could probably all rag on this shit for fucking hours. But we have hit the 3-hour mark.
We have.
Yeah, we're at the 3-hour mark.
Honestly, I would love to get with you and we'll set a date because I still want to get you over here and talk about the unity and stuff like that. And we can rant about how fucking
Unity Coalition. We've gone viral. We're real quick. Yeah. This is beautiful. This is my interpretation, but there's 3 like Venn diagrams of the Boog. You have the Dunnites, for lack of a better term. They're good people, but they're more conservative. They're more Constitution, more like reset America, and they're good. And then you have the Vanguard with Mando and the Hibiscus Society and HSC and everything that are a little bit of a mix in between. They're libertarian. They'll work with Trump supporters. They'll work with everybody. They're more libertarian. And then there's my thing that me and Yak and Star, which is a Rose City Antifa contact, started, and Disco and all these
Super
people.
cool.
That are the Unity Coalition is about working with Antifa, working with BLM, bringing everyone together. And these three bubbles in the Venn diagram form the Boogaloo. These are the three.
Yeah.
These are the three arms of the Boogaloo.
I would say include the 3D printers in that group.
Yeah, definitely.
They don't care about politics.
I don't care about politics. I don't care about
3D
culture. I just want 3D printer funded by cryptocurrency. That's about it.
Okay, yeah, say real quick. There's my 3D printer right there.
Ah, lovely,
Nice.
lovely.
Yes. Honestly, if you can reach out to people and get interest, let's get a freaking coalition episode going. Like,
I would love to get my local Antifa on this podcast. They would love you.
would
You
be
would
beautiful.
love them.
See,
They're
look, I have been
Beautiful
trying to
fucking
get
people.
more lefties or the Antifa group or BLM or whatever to come on here, and a lot of them are concerned for their safety, and I understand that. Like,
Rebecca is
most
the
of the
bravest
people that
fucking
I
woman I've
know-
ever seen. She will not give a fuck. She will be on here. That
I
woman
gotta-
that woman has
I don't wear
stolen.
this face just so it's free.
Okay, that woman stood unmasked, unarmed, 1 versus 300 fucking Trump supporters with a fuck Trump sign. I love
Yeah.
that woman. I fucking love that woman. She is a warrior, and I will respect her forever.
I would love to, like, speaking of warriors who did like crazy stuff, do you guys remember during BLM that chick who did the yoga in the streets and it actually
Oh,
like
yeah.
the cops backed
The
off?
naked girl. The naked
Oh,
girl.
yeah.
Naked yoga
I was
girl.
like
Athena.
surrounded by a bunch of people who were making fun of her at first, and I was like, are you guys fucking stupid? That is the coolest shit in the world. We just watched a chick chase the police away with her vagina.
Yeah, the power of the V, bro. Whoa.
It's the magic P. It's the magic P, man.
Like,
Yeah,
holy shit. That is like the epitome of some sort of fucking anarchist response, if you ask me.
If there's
Like,
any,
she busted
Anarcho-feminism.
norms, she fought the regular shit, and she chased the cops away non-violently with her fucking vagina.
And wasn't
Like,
it
how
like
the
a
fuck?
cold ass night out there too? Like it was like snowing
Oh, yeah.
or something.
yeah, it was not a warm
I
night.
was like, damn, girl.
It was in Yankee country, and it's almost always cold there.
Yeah, it's some fucking
For us
Twilight,
Southerners,
always
it's
raining,
always
always
cold.
cold bullshit. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like there's people that, along with the Boogaloo, like we wear Hawaiian shirts, we're all goofy, and then the Antifa organization I work with, one of the girls that I work with was actually, she dressed up as a sexy Grinch and went to the Stop the Steal protest and twerked to WAP. Like, the more that us anarchists express ourselves in really fucking weird ways, and sometimes it transcends weird so much.
It does.
They're like, the police don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
Like, they have no idea how to deal with us. They don't know what the fuck is going on. So they're like, oh, let's just leave.
Yeah. And like it's great because anytime we all come together and we turn to do something together, they can't fucking respond. It may not always throw the cops off, but it always fucks the media.
Yeah, they have no idea how to deal with us.
They have no idea what to say because it just doesn't fit the narrative so hard, and they have to say something because it's going viral. Or they need to like say they have to make something up or whatever, because they, like in this situation,
Yeah.
they built it up to be something so big that if they didn't show up and report on it, then it was gonna like look so fucking weird, and people would have been like, there was a press blackout or whatever, and it would have made things really out of hand, I think. So they had no choice. They forced themselves to come cover us. And then they didn't have any sound bites. They didn't have any violent remarks. They didn't have any bad turnouts to use. And they had to show them something. So we basically like forced and confused them into fucking showing them us. Showing them us, though.
That's why I argued up and down, like, no, show up yesterday, because you have preposterous amounts of media and you have a captive audience, you're not going to be fucking killed on the street. I'm sorry. Like, it's just not going to fucking happen. Show up and you have a captive audience. The LP should have been there. The fucking Green Party should have been there. BLM should have fucking been there. Antifa should have been there. You have, I talked to CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, fucking every goddamn nobody fucking streamer on YouTube, Swedish media, German media, fucking UK media, fucking Norway media. Everyone was there. Yeah. Perfect moment to just say whatever you wanted to say. I could have walked up to there and been like, free blowjobs for everybody. And
then pissed off as I am that the LP didn't show up, fuck them. We got their fucking time. You know, there was nobody else there but us in our situation, and so they were capable of spending the whole time just talking to us.
And it's funny because other people pointed it out of the media was like recording me, and they're like, "So who did you vote for?" And I'm like, "I voted for the LP, and I'm mostly a fan of Spike Cohen and Vermin Supreme." And as soon as I started saying Vermin Supreme, the camera went. Like, the left leaning anarchist that wears a boot on his head. That's who you're here for, not Trump. They're like, nope.
Yes. Yes.
And there was nowhere they could go though, because all of us were like, nope, we don't do that. Nope, we're not here for that. And everywhere they turned, we were all saying the same fucking thing. They couldn't find somebody. And they're the narrative.
They're desperately trying to make like Bethany and Rebecca and everyone, like all the BLM people, like, oh, they're fake BLM, but everyone knows they're not because they've been activists for years in their local community, and they're like, fuck you, dude. Here's 100 pictures of me being fucking beat by cops and attacked by Proud Boys. Blow me, fuck you, dude. And that's also important for them to go through that because then they start to understand how the media is bullshit. Like those Antifa people and those anti-Trump people and those BLM people showed up with us today because they believed in our message. And the media is destroying them for it. And they know what our message is, and they're seeing what the media is saying about them. And they're like, wow, I kind of understand what you guys go through every day. Like I'm a queer, mixed race, fucking environmentalist, former communist that gets called a fascist every fucking day.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous because like. It makes me, it irritates me, but I can't take it too seriously because it's so ridiculous. That,
it doesn't make any fucking sense. Again, I point to it. Like, that's not a meme.
There is a certain point on social media where I will literally just be like, you are ridiculous. I hope you see how ridiculous you are. If you don't see how ridiculous you are completely brainwashed and drinking the Kool-Aid. And from that, and I did my best to try and talk to you, and I'm done now. Yeah. So I'm either going to mute you, or I will only be responding in the form of GIFs that are making fun of you for the next whatever. And these people, like, if they're amusingly mad enough, I will just keep posting like the same GIF over and over at them, and they will just fucking go off and keep going and keep going and keep going. And like, at a certain point, I get bored and I mute them.
Yeah.
So I don't ever shut someone down and make it to where they can't speak, but I will turn off the pings.
I say, like people that say, like, oh, he's wearing the LGBT flag just for bullshit and false messaging and to blend in and hide his white supremacist. 3 of the people that are watching right now are male friends that I've known forever that I have fucking made out with.
Wow, that's the one way to end the show.
Sorry. I'm actually not fucking chilling. I'm actually pretty fucking gay. Sorry. Sorry. I also like vagina. I'm a little weird like that, but
I like dick and vagina too, and I'll take whatever's in between as well.
Right. But anyways, I see some people trying to end the stream. I'm reading the comments. It's also late. I'm pretty drunk. I appreciate you. I'm always drunk. I have people. I have people show up at my house all the time and threaten to fucking kill me, and I have people show up at my work all the time and threaten to fucking kill me.
I'll drink to you then.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Mike. I've always wanted to be on this. You're a fucking inspiration to me. You're an inspiration to me. Literally, you're an inspiration to me. I'm a great
to me too. Like, all of you are fucking inspirations. Like, there are times when I've been super freaking like negative and down in my fucking shit on what was going on, and then like I looked out into the world and saw all of you, and I'm getting emotional now. And I was like, I'm revitalized. Like, that's like getting a mushroom in fucking Super Mario Brothers, or actually more like a star.
Right.
And you guys are so fucking amazing. That's why I do this shit, because I want people to see how fucking amazing you guys are.
And
Like, I talk all the time. I could talk all goddamn day, but like, there's so many of us out there in the world, and I'm not just talking Boog. I'm talking people who stand for liberty and do things. Go out there and do things. You know, people who teach, people who fucking collect money for people. You know, I don't care. Like, there's so many goddamn people out there that you don't see them, and it makes us feel isolated. And I hate that. I hate that people feel alone, and showing them y'all, it makes people not feel alone.
And if like in my dream world, your next podcast would be me here, you there, and then either Profane or John from UPG, and then Rebecca, my Antifa contact, and then anyone else you invite.
We can't fucking do that.
Right, because the UPG is great. Like, they're walking around with fucking grenade launchers in Louisville at BLM protests, and they are loved. They are loved by the entire community. They are called First Fucking Point. Antifa fucking loves them. BLM fucking loves them. They are Boog to the core. And if I could get any member from UPG on here, if I could get our local Antifa on here, if I get me on here, and just hard dick fucking unity, great.
Let's do this shit.
And
I would love that. That would be so fucking amazing. I can't promise I'm not gonna get emotional.
Oh, dude, you know how many times I've cried over the last 24 hours? Like, look, he's probably watching right now, but my best friend, we're sitting there and we're playing League of Legends, and he's reading me comments that are positive towards my speech, and I'm like, fuck off, because I hate attention. I hate compliments. I hate all that. Like, leave me alone. My pronouns are none.
Deserve it.
My pronouns are none. I do not exist. Do not acknowledge.
I kind of like that. I'd rather have my pronouns are 0 and 1.
Don't acknowledge me. I don't exist. And he's sitting there reading these, and he's laughing at me, and he's reading like, it's 30,000 now. It's 40,000 now. Here's these people saying, here's these Bernie bros being like, wow, he says the same thing we are saying. I'm like, shut up, you motherfucker. I hate you so much.
One day you'll be able to hear people talk about it and not freak out, maybe. But
I've counted. I've had 100 people being like, run for office, and I'm like, no.
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 Don't become the monster that you seek to destroy.
No. even if I didn't feel that way, I'm some idiot that paints D&D miniatures and has like fucking like plays League of Legends, bro. Like, no. Like, I am not your Aragorn. I'm sorry. I've been thrust in this position because I was one of a couple idiots that wrote a fucking speech. That's it.
Does any of you guys have anything that you'd like to say in closing before I? And also, y'all don't leave, because we're gonna play that awesome speech once I freaking close this stuff off.
You have the full speech, because I got the full speech.
I think that's a good way to end the show. Is to play that speech.
I don't know if it's the whole one. It's the one that.
It's about a 2-minute clip. The whole speech is like an hour. So
I'll send you my whole speech, because someone finally.
Yeah, you send me your whole speech so that I can fucking show that off in the reel that I'm gonna do. But if you guys like this shit or you hated this shit, make sure that you get into the comment section and let us fucking know, so that we can tell you thank you or how fucking wrong you are or something. Hell, make sure that you guys like this and share it around, because that helps us a lot. I know for a fact that we're kind of shadow banned on some stuff, so help us out. Share. If you guys want to get involved in this, and because you like what you see, we will take your time. We will definitely take your time. Get over here and volunteer with us, because none of us are getting paid for this shit, for sure.
I'm really fucking poor. Please help.
Get in here and help us, like, run communities, help online, help us like keep abroad of the things that are going on. Come join us in the show and give us your awesome opinion. You know, like, whatever it is that we will talk to you and we will find something for you to fucking do. We do things behind the scenes that nobody ever sees, and I promise you that you can help with a lot of that. A lot of it's very simple, but it requires a lot of hands on deck, like us trying to do swarms and stuff like that and get stories out and shit. So like hit us up, come to our matrix, talk to us, whatever, we'll help you out getting in there. We'll make this shit happen. We will bend over backwards to get your help. Just hit us up and we'll make it happen. If you don't have time, but you like what we do and you want to help us be able to afford to do more of it,
give us your shekels.
Yeah, give us your filthy white market money in the Subscribe Star, or get in our Cointree link and toss us some crypto, be that normal or fucking filthy white market crypto. Shame on you. We'll take it all. We'll deal with it. We'll wash it up and we'll make it go back into the community. We use that money to keep our internet presence as much as we can. And after the bills are paid after the bills are paid, we give every bit of that back to the Liberty movement, and that's across the table. If anybody needs anything, we put it in there. We can't solve everybody's problems because we're not making a lot, but if you guys donate to us, know that that's what it goes to. It goes to everything, making like protests happen, making group things happen, fucking getting homeless people bags of stuff, like just whatever. It's all sorts of random shit. But we don't keep it, and we don't fucking make any, we don't use it for our own comfort or anything like that. We put it back. So thank you guys who are doing the regular Subscribe Star. I would really like to call out how awesome you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will really look forward to hearing from you guys in the future. Like we try to reach out and talk to the people who help support this stuff, and like a lot of them actually are involved in the background, and some of them have become regulars on the show, like Jay. We fucking love Jay with the Armed Bear Caucus and stuff like that. Our slightly statist friend. But yeah, we really appreciated this. I'm gonna go back to having daily shows ASAP. We're getting things organized to have some more shows during the week and stuff like that. I look forward to seeing you guys there, and until then, y'all be safe, but ultimately be free. Never fucking give up the freedom for the safety. If you have to give up your freedom for safety, it's a fucking illusion. Because if you can't provide it for yourself, no one else can either. And on that note, I'm gonna leave us all on an excerpt from the Martin Luther King stuff, and we will do this, and then we will get the fuck out of here. I hope you guys have a good night, and thank you.
God fucking speed.
Be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Thank you guys. I hope you guys can feel that like I fucking felt that shit. I hope you guys have a good time until we gathered again. This episode of Spilling the LiberTEA is adjourned.